I'm a little bit, yeah.
Hello, Cleveland! Hello, Cleveland! Fuck you, Mr. Postman. Fuck off, good.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
I have no idea what's going on.
Hello and welcome to Out on the Tiles, Music Rewind Livestream. As you know, Music Rewind is a podcast where we look to tell the stories behind our favorite albums. I'm your host, Steve Epley, and today we are bringing you our very first live stream. We're going to talk about the now completed seasons 1 and 2 and whatever music good stuff comes up. Joining us today is a full cast of characters, all previous guests on the show, sometimes multiple episodes and roundtables. And rather than introduce everyone myself, I will let them tell our millions of viewers who they are. Go for it, Mike.
I'm Mike Boroski. I was on season 1 doing Pearl Jam Versus, and then again on season 2 for the 90s Roundtable. And then one more time on season 2 for Led Zeppelin 3. Happy to be here again. Love the rock and roll. And by the way, we have an extra guest. This is my dog Joanne in the background.
Luke?
I'm Luke. I was in season 1 for the Radiohead and Rainbows episode. Also in season 1 for the Classic Rock Roundtable. And season 2 for the Who Quadrophenia episode. And as Mike said, happy to be back. Anytime I can talk music with some good people is a good day.
Danny?
And I'm Danny. I feel like a slacker. I was only here for Diary in season 1, the 90s Roundtable. I have not yet done my second record, so happy to be here with you guys.
You are slotted for early in season 3, though, so we'll give you credit there.
Well, there we go.
Yes.
I'm next to the guy who's going to be next to the guy who's next to the guy.
You got bumped from season 2 because you couldn't pick a damn album.
Oh, how couldn't you? I envy you guys who have this is what I want to talk about. My therapist is put in a new driveway thinking about dealing with all of my anxiety about talking about records.
You need the spreadsheet, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, exactly.
Spreadsheets are handy. And we got Bryce.
Hello.
Bryce,
sorry, guys. My wifey had a friend over tonight. I was like, I love this person. Like, we never get to see her. So my apologies, but I'm here now.
Oh, welcome. Tell our viewers who you are.
Okay. So I'm sure you guys all saw the reels that he was posting. He was nice enough to let the show use my new song, Sin's a Good Man's Brother. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard that cover, heard the original, but I did the cover. So, yeah, that's who I am. I made that. My name is Bryce Evans. I got like that coming out, and Steve's been a great supporter of my stuff. And I love this podcast. He had me on an episode. So it's nice to meet you guys.
Welcome, fellas. Appreciate it. Alan might be joining us a little later, and we'll go till we're done bullshitting.
I had a lot of crap to talk to Al, so I really hope he joins. I've got a list of talking points, and he's the focus of many of them.
He's the focus?
So, yes.
Steve, if it's anything like the 90s Roundtable, I hope you guys have enough power in your computers. And
Speaking of 90s Roundtable,
oh boy, Luke's coming right out. He's
coming out swinging.
I know it.
So Bush, I don't know how you guys feel about Bush, but
we didn't mention Bush at all, did we?
Not once. I absolutely.
I think there was a reason for that.
I adore their first 4 albums. You can't talk.
You know what, Luke? What is so crazy is because we all, like, I had lists, and I know Michael's the same way, and I know Steve is the same way, about bands and records that we wanted to talk about.
Sure.
And then it was 3 hours, or, well, Steve cut it down to 3 hours.
Yeah, we talked over 4 hours on that side.
Yeah. And then as soon as he stopped recording, we're like, oh, what about and just started ticking off. Now, I am not a Bush apologist or whatever. Not a big fan, but they should have been mentioned.
They should have. They're a huge part of
Machine Head alone, 16 Stone.
And he's dreamy, and he's a dreamboat.
That's right.
No, stop it.
He saved Lollapalooza
Luke,
so
it made good records, but it wasn't out of spite.
Understood. No. I'm just giving you. I'm giving you a gaff.
I'll give Luke credit. 16 Stone and Razor Blade Suitcase. I enjoyed both those albums, but I couldn't name you one after that.
Golden State was number 4. I absolutely love Golden State and Science of Things.
Wasn't it green?
Science of Things was green.
Science of Things was green.
Yep.
I think somebody burned that for me.
Was that the chemicals between us?
Yes. And letting the cable sleep. That's an excellent song.
Okay.
There's not some bad songs. Just giving you a hard time.
I know. I'm doing the same back at you. So, and then Cake. Where was Cake? Not once.
Ooh, that's a little harder for me.
Yeah, they bridged the 2000s a lot though, don't they?
They
were real late though.
Yeah, they were late.
Short skirt, long jacket.
That was 2000s.
No, I know. I'm just
Fashion Nugget. Fashion Nugget was
the Distance was their very 90s. First. Friend is a 4-letter word.
The Distance. Yeah.
Yep. So, but anyway, speaking of latecomers, so I've got Incubus, Modest Mouse, Queens of the Stone Age, Wilco.
Modest Mouse was mentioned.
How do we not?
Oh, was Modest Mouse mentioned? I
a little bit.
Modest Mouse got really popular though in the early 2000s.
Exactly.
That first record.
Yeah, but
Lonesome Crowded West is perfect.
And I believe they're on their 25th anniversary tour, or they just announced they're going to be on the 25th anniversary tour for that record.
And Golden Casket just came out last year. It was a great album.
That's a good record. The new one's really good.
Luke, it was only because there was not enough time.
And then here's I'm gonna get a little pretentious. So we talked about this morning. Built to Spill and Neutral Milk Hotel. Neutral Milk Hotel.
I had Neutral Milk on my list, but I thought we tried to keep it a little more commercial.
Understood. Yes, and see again, I'm just
because Michael bows down to all corporate sponsors. But no. Oh, all of those, and like I said, as soon as we stopped recording, we were like, "Oh, what about these records? What about this?"
So many.
And then,
and I'm sure I've missed a couple too. So I'm just
trust me, I was trying to cross them off as we were going, and then I'm like, "Oh, we got to talk about this," but I'm like, "How do you go from like, talking about like Mariah Carey and go, oh, by the way, Neutral Milk Hotel's record, Airplane Over the Sea." She was really inspired. That's a tough transition for sure.
Yep.
But I will say, Bryce, so your episode about Clapton, and that came out in
July.
What was that? That record?
The record. 2000.
Yeah.
I think it was 2003 or 2002, 2003. I think on the podcast.
I'm not giving away the ages of any of us else. Any of us out there. And Luke, I don't know how old you are. So
37.
So that came out, and that was sort of a, you talked about it was a contemporary record. You were listening with your dad and all that kind of stuff in the 2000s. So do you have what is your 90s recollection? Or did you get all of that stuff a little bit later, or
about that much, man?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm 28 now, right?
Right.
So I'm not
exactly.
I was born in 94, so all of that came later. That came to me when I was I don't know, sophomore in high school, something like that. My best friend burned me this CD with all these freaking people that I had never heard of, and it was a burned CD. So it's not like it had a track list. It was he called it Blue Moon Mix 1 or Guinness Mix 2, and I'm 17, so it's not like I'm drinking, right? He's like, this is what you would have with a Guinness, and I'm like, okay, sure it is, right?
Was that I'm sludge rock? I hope was that the heavy.
Dude, I don't know. He made me 15 of these things with stuff that I had never heard.
Yeah.
I mean, he showed me thankfully, I had him because he showed me Korn, Lamb of God, and some really great rock bands that I now love that I wouldn't have found without him. But yeah, he got me all these CDs, and I just was like, all right, why not? I'll flip them in the CD player, and we'll just, go to town. And there was a few that I was like, and then a lot that I really, really fell in love with. And Bush was one of them. Like I loved oh God, what is that song? I could not think of the name of that. It's one of their like big hits. It's not in
Glycerine.
Glycerine, Machine Head, both of those were on
Machine Head is
That was the big one.
The
Little
video
Things,
was video was awesome though. Like, I don't know if you guys remember the video where like it was just like somebody like riding like a motorcycle through like London, and it was pretty cool. Like how that was way before you could do that with GoPros and stuff.
Sure. So it was like big production. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So my thing was very little with all that stuff until a lot later on. So, you know, but my like influences went so much different than that. Like he was on the whole rock and metal side, and I was like blues and guitars and old cool cars. And like that was where my whole taste went. So
and Bryce, why I asked is because I think, and Steve, not to take over the role here, but why I asked is because it's so much different than, like, I know how Michael and I came into Bush. It was, when we got into it, it was a tail end of grunge. You know what I mean? And it was like, now Michael's had a couple beers, so when I said when we got into Bush, yeah,
Sorry.
but
My mom and significant other would like that joke.
But all I want to say is when you hear those songs without context, without any preconceived notions, that's why I was asking. Like, you know, Luke, you brought it up. They are great songs, and you know, for better or for worse, the first time I heard them was like, oh, this is the death knell of oh,
my wife is enjoying this conversation.
Now, Steve, for the people who will be listening to this as a podcast, can you please explain what was just said? Moderator, right? You've got to say it out loud.
Yeah, my wife is one of our many viewers right now, and she does agree with Luke, and she thought the Bush joke was very comical.
That's as far as we're going.
No, they are a good band. I just think, and who wouldn't want to? You know,
are they better than Creed in your opinion?
For fuck's sake!
I thought we would get not talk about Creed. Steve, and now it's like cursing me because I feel like it's following me around and it's playing in like stores just because me, you, and Danny talk about it now. See, Luke's so mad he walked away about Creed.
See, he's been crying out to God.
Yeah,
seeking only His.
Those videos are absolutely ridiculous.
I bet you,
wait.
I bet you Luke went to get a Creed vinyl, and he's going to show us he's got the Creed Super Box set.
I know, but I also want to, after Luke shows us his Scott Strapp tattoo, I want to get Bryce's opinion on Creed as someone coming up a little bit younger than us.
I was just going to grab my Creed albums. Actually, I can't find them.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Finally, yes, thank you.
You had your headphones off, Luke, but I kind of.
I was literally. I have their first two albums.
Why?
My wife is not going to listen to this now. She's already said she's done.
You know what? Creed is not that bad of a band. Yes, they might be derivative of what came before, but Creed is not that bad. I'm not going to say they're one of my favorites.
Even
I would agree, right? So here's the thing: like I didn't grow up on Creed, right? I heard of Creed when I was like,
I hope not.
10. No, thankfully I didn't. My dad did me better than that. But you know, here's the thing, right? Like I think they came out with some good stuff. Not all of it by any means. It's not like I have all of their stuff on like my liked playlist on Spotify or something. But there are a few choice songs that I'm like, yeah, I can get into this every now and again. I had to do a cover of a Creed song beginning of August. I had to. I
never even thought of that. Yeah. If you get requests. Yeah.
Which one did you do? My Own Prison?
So I did with what the one you would think with our right. I had to.
At least My Own Prison's like okay.
I thought that was a pretty good song.
See, you're wearing Mike down.
No, I had their CDs in college, and then I stopped. Like, I don't know, drinking heavily. I don't know what happened.
Well,
It's like taking a swig of beer.
I think I had my own
liked him.
prison. I think.
I will say, sound wise, all that they check every box, right? They sound good, they look good, the singer, but there's nothing there. It's
I'm not saying.
I will
there is.
say this.
You-
My mom
if I
just
could show
texted
you-
me.
Go ahead.
My mom just texted me because she doesn't know how to message on the board like Michelle, and she said, "I can't comment, but I love Creed."
There you go.
So,
See,
Yes.
65-year-old woman says it. It's got to be good.
that's right.
Hey, you know,
And the
So
same with
I wonder
Nickelback.
if-
I love
Same
it.
with
I wonder
Nickelback.
if
A lot
we
of
go
people
back
give
in
them go.
time. I wonder if we go back in time, like somebody saying Vanilla Fudge is better than Led Zeppelin.
Right.
No one's
Maybe.
claiming that Creed is better than anyone though. So we're
Creed
don't
is
love
better
Led
than
Zeppelin.
everyone? Oh, Creed Bratton.
hey, there's Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole.
Nicole's going to
Yes.
be a guest on season 3.
Oh,
Steve's
cool.
Steve's got her in the book. So Nicole and I have
Love
actually recorded some music together. We're nowhere near what you've done, Bryce. We do it very,
Mike's
it's
mom.
lo-fi.
I can't comment, but I love Creed. And by the way, Nicole, the only Creed worth listening to is Creed Bratton.
There you go.
Yeah. Or Creed from The Office.
That is Creed
That is
Bratton.
Creed from the
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, shit.
Good one.
Sorry, I just watched it once. I don't like rewatch the. I didn't.
The
rewatch
only
it.
friend is Ross.
Sorry.
Or the Ross from Friends.
Sorry. Oh,
Nicole's
I
going to
really
be
think we
doing.
do a 10-minute Creed conversation.
Nicole's going to be doing the Cranberries.
Yes.
Everybody else is
Yeah.
doing it. So
Yeah.
why can't we?
Excellent.
My wife loves the
Oh, that's a
Cranberries.
great record. Oh, hands down.
Fantastic.
And Luke, you brought up bands we didn't talk about much in the '90s. I don't know if we talked about, went down a '90s path about how great the Cranberries were.
I don't think you
Like
know.
the Zombies,
Completely.
like
The zombie
Or
video
Zom-
alone is
sorry,
one of the
Zombies,
top videos of
but all of those
that
records.
decade.
I mean, one of the heaviest, like just that drum beat of Zombie. Come on, man. Yeah,
Zombie's second album though.
Yeah.
yeah.
That was
Yeah,
on
yeah.
You know,
the
it's
follow-up,
funny. We were in Dublin, Ireland, and you would have thought, okay, they're not going to want to listen to like the Cranberries because it's Ireland and stuff because you hear it enough. But like
No
every
Dropkick
bar we
Murphy.
went to, the guy who was like, or the lady who was like just playing at the bar, always played Zombie, always that, and like Snow Patrol.
Oh,
A Snow Patrol song, like they were big into Snow Patrol because I guess their
Chasing-
first concert ever.
Chasing
Yeah, it
Cars.
was Chasing Cars.
There you go.
It was
Yeah.
huge. It was huge. Like the first time they ever played, I guess, was in Belfast. Like we walked by a place that had like a placard that said Snow Patrol's first concert, and those two songs were played at every bar. And I'm thinking, man, like I love Zombie, but you would have think that you would hear it, you get sick of it, I guess. Like, but I guess it's like Nashville. Like you don't get sick of, whatever honky tonk songs that you want to hear in Nashville.
I didn't know Snow Patrol.
I don't
was,
know. I don't know the
was
stuff
from there. They're Irish. Snow Patrol.
Oh yeah, that's Zombies about the.
Well,
no.
No,
He said
Cranberries.
Snow
I know.
Patrol.
Snow Patrol though.
Oh, they're from. It's weird because they're from England
I
or
didn't
Wales, but they're not from Ireland. But like that's the first place they ever played was in Dublin,
Okay.
in Belfast, Ireland. They're huge in
Actually,
Ireland.
I can honestly say the first time I heard of them was Snow Patrol, not Cranberries. Was the Grey's Anatomy soundtrack? Or on
I
Grey's
was just gonna
Anatomy.
say you're gonna.
And it-
I knew you were gonna say
Yeah.
Grace.
But remember, at the time, there wasn't a lot. Well, that's the
Wasn't a lot
first
of
time I
TV.
heard of them, and I came up. I saw them at the Metro. I saw them at a bunch of places in Chicago, but they put on a good show.
I enjoy
just
Snow
don't know
Patrol.
Yeah.
Their first two albums were pretty.
It was a good show. I think we saw them, didn't we, Dan, in like 07, 08 in
We
the
did.
city? Yeah.
All right, so I've got a new topic here. So I did the math, and for 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000, and then 2010. So there have been 7 episodes from the 70s. There have been 3 episodes from the 80s. There have been 6 from the 90s, 4 from the 2000s, and only 1 from 2010 on. So 2000s.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
Is it wrong?
There's 2 from 2010 on because you had. Did you include this week's episode with the Preservation Hall Jazz?
Oh, I did not. I just had the Alabama Shakes. So, yep, we've got 2. So
That's a cheat code, Steve.
That now
That's
negates
cheat
all
code.
your
That's cheat
credibility. We can't believe a word you say now.
That was a surprise episode.
None of those songs. None of those songs were from
yeah.
2010. So you give Steve that one back. Yeah. None of those songs were originally from that time.
So I guess my question for the group is 2010 to 2020 or 2022. Do you have any bands that you find that are outstanding and would deserve to have their own individual episode?
I do.
Let's hear it, Bryce.
Yeah.
Bryce's band.
Shined it well.
Was Shinedown 2000 after 2010, or did they have an album before that?
I think they have an album out after 2010, actually.
Oh yeah. Yep. I was saying bands that were formed after 2010.
God, yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Good
Well,
point.
we can go
Good
into that
point.
too.
Okay.
Well, when did My Chemical Romance come to? Like, when was their first album?
That was
Early
that was like
2000s.
2000.
Okay, that was 2000. So,
I was gonna say
2003, I
Arcade
think,
Fire,
right?
but the Suburbs was 2010.
Okay.
So,
So yeah, let's do that then. In from 2000 to 2022. So let's open it up because there haven't been that many for what did I say for 2004?
there's a lot of good bands out of the 2000s that I can mention.
Okay,
From 2010 on.
let's widen it. So Shinedown, Bryce, tell us what you dig about Shinedown.
Dude, like that first album that they had, that thing is unreal. There are so many
From the Inside or whatever. Was that the single?
No, I think that's Sound of Madness.
Okay. Yeah.
I definitely brought it back.
Yeah, Luke, nice. Yes.
Leave a Whisper was their first album.
Okay.
And then looks like, oh my God. See, I'm a poorly prepared person, y'all.
You're fine.
I'm sorry.
Hey, this is just a round table, right?
So like
I'm legit just going through my spreadsheet and writing stuff
the
down.
first of these, like
I'm not even cheating.
We need to talk
the
about the
first of these
spreadsheet.
albums are
soon.
insane. I absolutely loved Leave a Whisper, and then I caught on to Shinedown during Sound of Madness. Like that was it for me. And now
What year is that, Bryce? I'm Shinedown.
Sound of Madness. I think Sound of Madness
it's a blank
was like
space for me.
I think it's like 2008. I want to say
That sounds about right.
something like that, somewhere in there. But that's where like Sound of Madness came out. Is it not Haley's Comet? Dude, I always remember all
Hailstorm. Hailstorm, is that?
Hailstorm's fantastic.
I didn't know if that's who you were trying to think of, or
No, I was trying to think of a song on that Shinedown.
Oh.
But
there's
there's so many hits on that thing. Like that album is friggin' fantastic. Speaking of Hailstorm, though, Hailstorm is also in that group. She just released one, I think, this year. Wow, that chick is like, she's on fire, and her band is just fantastic.
Yep.
I love Hailstorm, and every time she always surprises me. Right, I'll catch on to an album, I'll listen to it for like, I don't know, a couple weeks. Right, I'm like, yes, killer, and then it's just like cool, I'll find other music and I'll keep going, and then she'll come out with something else, and I'm like, oh shit, Lizzie Hale. Oh, my bad. Sorry, I'm not supposed to cuss. My bad. Sorry, guys. I'm like,
this isn't for kids. You're good.
Yeah. Don't worry, my mom's already probably sworn like 3 times.
So yeah, I'm like, Hailstorm's great. She always comes back and she's like, hey, don't forget about me, And she always is just so powerful, and she has those emotional songs that she comes out with usually on the end of her albums, right? And it's like, man, there's a reason that you have the success that you have. Like, you are on fire, insanely good.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it.
So Bryce, are those bands? Forgive my ignorance, but like Trivium. Do you know Trivium?
Oh yeah, I've seen Trivium in concert. Yeah.
Do you know Avatar?
That sounds familiar,
British
but
metal
not
band.
like.
I am.
See, like
so
everything
hard.
outside of the
Check out
US,
Avatar.
like Rammstein, Avatar, I'll check them out.
Oh,
But like Rammstein,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't stand Rammstein, right? Like They drive me nuts.
Avatar. So my buddy who likes Shinedown and some of those bands, he's a big Slipknot guy. Or you like Slipknot? I'm assuming.
I like them, yeah, but they're not one of my mainly listened to. But yeah,
okay,
I do.
Yeah, but he turned me on to Avatar. He turned me on to Avatar. My buddy Paul, and it reminds me of how you were talking about Shinedown. But Avatar goes there's theatrics, there's heaviness, there's operatic singing. So yeah, check them out if you get a chance.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah, I have them written down. I'm going to check those guys out for sure.
Yeah.
So since we've spread it from 2000, I've got countless bands. So
Luke, let's hear it.
I don't even know where to begin. So as you said, Arcade Fire, Arctic Monkeys.
What a great show. We saw them like in their first tour.
Nice. Yeah. See that first album, I would have loved to have seen them back then.
Yeah, it was awesome. We saw that with Dan with my brother.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
They
put on a hell of a live show. Oh, sorry, Luke. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
I mean, they were like 19 too when we saw them, so they got a lot of energy at the time.
So the Shins, Fleet Foxes.
You got a good story about the Shins.
Interpol. Interpol is one of my favorites.
Interpol, the Strokes.
Yeah, the Strokes, absolutely.
The Strokes, probably, yes. Go ahead.
And then At the Drive-In broke up and created two stellar bands, Mars Volta and Sparta.
Yes.
Oh, I saw Mars Volta.
Mars Volta is amazing.
Oh,
I love that band.
Do we count like Queens of the Stone Age?
Yeah,
because they came in.
98 was their first album, which I love their first album. But yeah, they really didn't hit the mainstream until then. So
when did Portugal the Man start making records?
I think they were probably like late 2000s.
I like them.
I like them a lot.
At least
they might fall into the 2010.
They might
category.
Did anybody cover Seether yet?
No, Seether is another excellent disclaimer. Disclaimer was one of my
Bryce. Bryce, I'm that age where I'm thinking you're talking about the Veruca Salt song.
Yeah.
Oh, the band.
No, I got you.
The best thing that Seether ever did was let Amy Lee sing on their record. That's that was a great.
Oh,
I'm going to call it a cover.
Sorry, Amy Lee is one of my favorite singers ever.
She's good. And she's really good.
Like there was something about her, like in college. Oh,
I do have to call out that Michelle just called it the darkness. I believe in a thing called love.
Yes.
One of my dad's favorite songs. His two favorite songs are More Than a Feeling by Boston and The Darkness. I believe in a thing called love.
Did you guys see the Foo Fighters Taylor tribute concert?
No,
his son.
No.
So Brian Johnson actually asked the lead singer of The Darkness to sing with him on stage, and apparently he never does that. So he kind of said, no, I can't do it. And someone came up and said, hey, if Brian asks you to do it, you got to do it.
What's it? Is it Justin Hawkins? Is that?
I believe so. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Good call.
They opened up for.
He's got an amazing voice.
Absolutely.
Lady Gaga.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It sort of sucked for them because I think when they came out, correct me if I'm wrong, but they sort of got pigeonholed into like a niche, like maybe they're making, fun of a genre, like the hair metal stuff. But
I think the music video kind of layered it onto that.
All of their music videos. Their music videos are kind of wild.
Yep.
They just came out and they rock. They do rock, and I think they had a new record out last year or 2 years ago.
Yep, and I think they're much
really good.
They're much bigger in England. So
yeah,
and we have the tour poster from the Lady Gaga show that my wife went to.
Nice.
And The Darkness was like the opener, and she was like, they were so awesome. And then like as my wife calls it, Mother Monster came on, and that nobody else even mattered after having just seen Lady Gaga a couple weeks ago with her. It's a hell of a show. I mean, you could feel the flames from the stage from a good 50 yards away. I don't know how
does Lady Gaga predate 2010?
I believe so, barely. But
really? Yeah, because she does. Remember, Danny? She was at. Oh, you weren't at the show. So in Lollapalooza in 07. When Pearl Jam headlined,
she was in the bottom.
She was like on the side stage, And I'm like, who is this blonde girl that everybody cares about so much? And we watched her for like 10 minutes. And then a couple of years later, she was the headliner. I was like, we saw this person sing. Like, who the hell is this? Like, I didn't have anything. And then my wife is like, obviously, if you can this way, there's a Lady Gaga like poster behind me from the Vegas residency when she went to there. So yeah, Lady Gaga is one that I really enjoy. One of her songs is from the Star Is Born soundtrack, is one of our wedding songs. So
nice.
Yeah, sure.
And the other one's a Pearl Jam song, obviously. So,
well, I will say a band that is not post 2010 that I think Luke, Bryce, and Steve will really dig. Do you guys know the Marcus King Band?
Yes.
I've heard of them, but I've never given them a shot.
Oh, give them a shot.
Oh, God, he's so good.
Bryce, I know you would dig it. I think he's like a 24, 25-year-old dude. Boy,
yeah.
Down home blue. Bryce, take it away.
Dude.
I love him. I love him.
That kid's 24. He looks like he's like in his 50s.
So. Well,
he's so good, man. Like that guy.
Old soul.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I don't know this because I haven't vetted this, right? Had a old coworker that used to go to like shows upon shows upon shows upon shows. I had a day job at the time. I couldn't do that. So she was out there living the life, right? And she was like, yeah, did you hear about how he got his record deal? I'm like, I have no idea. She's like, well, from what I heard was if he went in and snuck into a who was the guy he's in Government Mule.
Warren Haynes.
Warren Haynes. He snuck into a Warren Haynes concert and he got in. He somehow worked his way past security and backstage and he got in front of Warren Haynes and he's like, look, man, I know I got caught because he got caught at this point. He's like, I know I got caught, but I tried to do this so I could show you my music because I need help. And Warren Haynes was like, show me what you got. And so then, bam, on he goes. Warren Haynes heard his stuff and he's like, oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Gladly pick you up. Again, I don't know if
records
that's true,
are.
but he's so good.
I'm gonna pass that on as if it's true because that's amazing. That's a great story. But
it's a great story.
His records are so great. He's on tour right now with if you guys don't know Neil Francis, who's an artist from Chicago or the Chicagoland area. Check him out. And then Dean Del Rey, who's a comedian, is actually opening up for this on this stadium tour run that they're doing. Yeah, so
cool.
But Marcus King is one of those like old school, every once in a while, like you said, Warren Haynes, those guys, I know you guys are blues fans, but all of a sudden a young kid comes out and just starts playing. And I knew Bryce, I knew you would tap into that.
He's
but
so good. Yeah. He played with another band, which is slipping my mind, and I just listened to that song today. Anyways, it's more funky, dumpster punk or dumpster punk. I don't really know how you pronounce it, but he is
I don't know.
Awesome.
It's
dumpster punk. It's a weird spelling. Just try to Google it, you'll find it. But the song called "Be You" is freaking insane, and United Nations Stomp. Man, he took this funk song and this soul song that Dumpster Punk did, and he joined him on it, and he just ripped blues licks all over that thing, and I'm all for that. So it's really good. I recommend that. That's insanely good stuff.
I actually heard of him because Gary Clark Jr. dropped his name. So I don't know if you guys are Gary Clark Jr. fans, but
I saw him at Bonnaroo. He was fantastic.
We last summer we were living in Austin, and one of the last things that we did was the beginning of Austin City Limits, like outdoor festivals and stuff. And Gary Clark Jr., what he does is he has like a free festival for the day, and he brings bands and artists that he really likes, and they play like 2 or 3 songs, and he comes on and noodles the guitar like with them and everything because I'm gonna screw. I know it's Stevie Ray Vaughan's brother. I don't know. It's the guy from the Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Jimmy Vaughn.
Jimmy Vaughn. Yeah. So Jimmy Vaughn gave him that like opportunity like that. So he wanted to give opportunities to like bands like this, and it was really cool because then he came on at the end and played like 3 songs and stuff, and it was the whole time I'm just like on my phone, like typing who these people were because they were awesome and like unsigned. So of course I couldn't find them or anything, but it was really cool that he gives back because he was, and I don't, obviously if you've seen the Foo Fighters documentary about the X's on their hands because he was underage when he was hanging out with, right? I think that's how it goes. He was hanging out like in the clubs too young. And so to make sure that he wasn't old enough, they had X's on his hand, but he would come up and play with like all those guys in Austin. I think that was the Austin episode. I haven't seen it in a while, but
You're talking Sonic Highways, right?
Sonic Highways.
Oh,
like
Sonic Highways.
Sonic
Got
Highways.
you.
And Foo
I
Fighters.
think it's behind you somewhere on the shelf.
Yeah, because I was like, Gary Clark played on the Austin episode and the song. But yeah, Gary Clark Jr., I mean, some of those songs, like, especially the last big single, obviously none of us can say what it's called, but it was just fantastic considering like why he wrote it and the fact
when
that
he released it. Yeah.
Why he released it. He is going to be a force for years to come.
I think it was probably 2010 and he was one of the bigger stars at Bonnaroo, and the way Bonnaroo has like, a dozen different stages with same with all the other festivals, but he played like Friday or Saturday on one of the main stages, but then they have a green stage, which is tiny and off to the side. And it's usually where some of the main acts will then do sometimes a surprise show stripped down, just them. And he did that on Sunday, and Tony and I caught it, and we caught both sets. And the stripped down green stage was, I don't know, better to me. I just enjoyed it more. Just him in an acoustic guitar, tons of passion, tons of feeling, and just
he's got a whale.
Better, yeah. It was great.
He's so good. I really enjoy Gary Clark Jr. But I don't listen to him as much as I should. And the reason I say that is because he got for me, right? Because I didn't really hear him until he really hit it. And once he hit it, I was like, yeah, he's good. He's like bringing this new blue thing into like focus, which is awesome. A few of his songs did it for me. And then after that, I was like, I'm just nothing I'm in love with so much that I have to continue listening. But that dude can friggin' wail. He is great. He's a great guitarist. I don't know, just something about his style and the way he writes his songs work with me on a few of them, but not all of them. It just didn't catch my knack for playing.
Well, that's what was cool.
I want to tack on to the modern blues here and mention the Black Keys.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the 2000s, 2010, fantastic.
Yeah. Except the one record that
they've
experimented a lot, but I enjoyed all their
Turn Blue is the one that you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Turn Blue is the only record of theirs that I haven't purchased. I despised it so much that I boycotted it.
I could listen to Rubber Factory or Thick Freakness.
Rubber Factory is
those are just
amazing.
Yeah.
And they're absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
And I guess you will say, because I think we're all in agreement about Turn Blue, but about a band that's been together that long, two guys that have been together that long to experiment, you give them their props, but I'm glad they found their way home.
But
and are playing, you know what I mean?
Speaking of Turn Blue, so unfortunately, the person who steered them in that direction was Danger Mouse, and Danger Mouse, everything that he's touched, I kind of love. So Gnarls Barkley is obviously his band, with CeeLo.
Are you the same way?
The Danger
as the what was it? The Gray album?
I was just gonna say that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
the Gray album is so good. It's
the mashup of the Beatles' White Album and Jay-Z.
Yep. That was him.
Yeah.
So
good.
And then what else? He did Norah Jones, Little Broken Hearts.
He just came out with a new record, Danger Mouse, like a couple weeks ago.
Okay, and he's also coming out with another new album this year.
Yeah,
too,
it was really good. Like the guys that were on it, I never heard of, but they were awesome. I want to say that, and I'm going to segue to somebody who is probably one of the best in the last 5-6 years. Run the Jewels was on it, and Run the Jewels, we saw them open up for Rage Against the Machine, and those guys are because they're like my age, they're me and Danny's age and Steve's age. and they just kick ass, man. Like you got like a white guy from Brooklyn and a black guy from Atlanta, and they met each other and just like they just make such cool stuff. And they got Zach De La Roca to actually like rap on a record for the first time since, like,
he's on their new record.
He was on he was on all of them. He's been on every one of their records, and the guy hasn't put out like released music since Battle of Los Angeles, or I guess if you want to count the covers record, but like to have him come out and like still be Zach and spit fire and kill it, like it was Run the Jewels and Rage. We were at the show where he actually blew his Achilles out, like when he was jumping up. Zach De La Roca.
I saw he's been sitting for a majority of the concerts this year.
It was nuts. He was like, I will tell you this, I will crawl on this stage to finish this tour. And I'm like, cool, because I've been waiting since I was like 13 to see you. So I appreciate it, man.
Did you see?
I will say, go ahead, Luke. Sorry.
I was just going to attack onto the Rage. Did you see the clip of the fan that ran up on stage and the security guard tackled him into Tom Morello?
No, was that in Chicago?
No.
I'm not sure. It was recent. It was within the last month. So anyway, Tom Morello goes flying off the stage, and he got back up like a champ. He was still playing when he fell.
That guy's got so
amazing.
much energy, and the fact that his mom's still alive, that they do the radio show together on Sirius XM is awesome. From Marseilles, Illinois.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's from very near where Michael and Steve and I are from. So.
Nice.
And she still lives in Marseilles, and like she does it from her like kitchen table with him.
Some of you may know Marseilles by being close to Starved Rock. If you have watched HBO's Starved Rock Murders documentary, I don't know.
I'm only an hour away, so I'm a
there you go. Sorry,
I'm a Central Illinois boy as well.
Sorry.
No, don't worry about it. You're doing it for Bryce. If you ever make it to Central Illinois, go to Starved Rock. And apparently there's good fried chicken there, is that, from what I remember. In one of your
the background alone.
Yeah, this live stream background is where the chicken is.
Nice.
Yes.
Awesome.
The best fried chicken in the world.
Which episode was that? Was that Versus?
It was probably we talked about Rips quite a bit.
We did talk about Rips.
Yeah.
I was going to
There's
say,
a lot of
I'm
stuff
looking.
I wanted edited out, by the way. I kept telling Steve, I'm like, you got to edit this out. And he's like, no, go ahead and just ramble.
That was only episode 5 or 4. That was fine.
Well, we already have a.
Go
ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Michael.
No, I was going to say,
Luke, to get onto your question, maybe narrow it down a little bit more. Is there a new band or a new record that just came out? Maybe it's not a new band, sorry, or maybe it's a new band, but a record that just came out recently that blew you away within the last. Maybe it's "Cruel Country" by Wilco. Maybe it's something that hit you over the head.
A Light for Attracting Attention by The Smile. So Tom York and Johnny Greenwood had a side project, and holy crap! If you put that on your hi-fi or put some good headphones on, it'll take you to another world. I think I mentioned it in the In Rainbows episode, but it makes you feel like you're on drugs without even being. You're completely sober listening to it. So check it out. Light for Attracting Attention.
Michael, how about you? Oh, Bryce, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. I was just writing down what he was saying.
It is so cool, so cool. They got a jazz drummer to do the album as well. So he's got these jazz beats going over the top of Johnny, who's just a noodler. He's just messing around, and Tom's vocals coming at you both sides. It is so trippy. It's so cool. Check it out.
I would say, and I think I actually talk about him in every episode, is Jason Isbell, 100%. Like anything that Jason Isbell does is in the last 10 years, it's the guy's songwriting is so good and his guitar playing is so amazing. I'm so happy that he got sober. He wrote some of the best Drive-By Trucker songs from the early 2000s. But, he's a 22, 23-year-old kid and, just drank a little too much. It's like he got kicked out of drive. He didn't get kicked out.
He's how old now?
Oh, he's our age. But he was in Drive-By Truckers when they first came out. like not their very first two
Because
records.
he played on the Preservation Hall album in 2010.
Right.
So
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So he was on like he wrote like Outfit. He was on what's it? The Southern.
It's the
Rock
Southern Rock
Opera.
Opera. Like,
Anyway,
so he
go ahead,
was
Mike. Yeah.
on the in Drive By Truckers from probably like 2001 to like 2005. And if you ever like do like, I'm an Apple Music guy, but if you do like Drive By Truckers Essentials, like 4 or 5 of his songs are still on like the main essentials. And the guy hasn't been in the band in 20 years. And that's how good of a songwriter he is. And Danny and I, the first show that we saw after the shutdown and all that stuff was Jason Isbell. And it's one of those things, and that guy's songwriting was so good that like I was like crying because he's so emotionally such a great songwriter. And the fact to see him live, because that's the first time I ever saw him. And then it was like right after it was the first concert that I haven't seen since in 2019. You know, like late 2019.
The last one was
Tool.
in December at the United Center, and then fast forward almost 2 years. Yeah, 2 years, and we saw him at a minor league baseball stadium on the outskirts of Chicago. And
then we're gonna go see him next Friday. And we're gonna go see him next Friday at the Bourbon and Beyond Festival, and then Pearl Jam on Saturday night. So
I'll be there as well. So it's Pearl Jam's on Sunday. I had to take Monday off of work. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You guys are going to Bourbon. Okay.
Luke's going to the Pearl Jam St. Louis show, Dan.
Well, let's all meet up.
Yeah, we might have to have some of that trash pizza. Or not have it. But that's, to me, Jason Isbell, the 400 unit, and his wife, Amanda Shires, like, she's a fantastic singer.
Her new record is fantastic.
If
you don't know any of her stuff, Highway Women, her solo stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And as my wife says, she's very foxy. She's like, she is so attractive. I'm like, all right, well, yeah. I'm not gonna argue, but like she was excited to see her.
So Bryce, what's it for you, man?
Dude, Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. Have any of you guys heard of him yet?
No, I don't know.
This guy got picked up by AC/DC a few years ago, 5-6 years ago, something like that. He got to open up for AC/DC, right? So, and don't think that like that's his style, right? He's not like kind of a classic rock hitter. That's not really his thing. He's more of this like, kind of like, I don't want to say what I do because he's 10 times better, but kind of what I do. He does this like bluesy rock with a new modern age twist, but he's really trying his best to keep the roots. I do a horrible job at keeping the roots. He does not. He's fantastic. He just came out with an album today, Shake the Roots, and then the other one is called 2019 Truth and Lies. That is a fantastic album. Check that guy out. He's kind of like Marcus King.
What's his name?
Oh, nice.
Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown.
You guys are giving us a lot of homework here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so good, man. He's so good. Like that. I heard a few new on my like release radar throughout the last few days here, of like his old stuff. And I think it was kind of priming me, right? Like start listening to Tyler Bryant again. And then bam, here we are. I got his new album and I'm like, yeah, man, you're killing it. Like he's so good. Yeah. That dude is great. He's really good.
Awesome. Steve? Anything new?
No, I have been so deep into researching for the
You're
show.
in like season 8 of this.
Yeah. Because every single album, I want to give it the proper respect it deserves. So I listen to it, I make notes, and I'm pretty much running it on repeat in my headphones right up until showtime.
Dedicated, man. Dedicated.
So, and coming up on season 3, there's a Chicago blues historian who's going to be joining the show, and his selection is a 3-volume set of like old Chicago blues. It's amazing, and ever since he sent me the link, I've been listening to it nonstop. So I haven't seen anything of new music
So he's going to top the Quadrophenia longest episode.
What, Steve, what would I tell you? It was what originally it was. What would you say? It was like 52, 54 songs.
There's 42 songs.
Holy cow! Are you going to do track by track?
It's up to him. What I say on every episode.
I might break the round table.
I
might break the round table.
This man is a very knowledgeable historian of Chicago blues, so he may likely just talk Chicago blues and pick out certain tracks.
That'll be very interesting.
He's been on podcasts before, so
awesome.
he knows the drill.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Well, I'll answer for Steve then. So Red Hot Chili Peppers, Unlimited Love, Spoon.
I haven't had a chance yet.
Is it good, Luke?
It's so good. It is amazing.
Really?
Yeah, John Frusciante, his tone, his guitar tone is perfection. It is superb. And
Look,
Chili Peppers have another album coming out
Chili
in a month.
That's right.
What's up?
I do have to ask you about the Chili Peppers.
Let's hear it.
So I've been in a spot right now where I just can't stand them, and I think it's because I think the lyrics are just horseshit.
Oh, absolutely.
Lyricists of all time.
Has he ever had good lyrics? I mean, my favorite.
Because I know Flea is awesome. He's fucking awesome bass player.
Michael, pause. Because I'm gonna counter with Luke or agree with Luke because he said, "Has he ever been a good lyricist?" So I'm gonna say the same thing. If you like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, it's the same thing as like picking the Stones over the Beatles. Now here we go. But Mick Jagger's lyrics, come on,
There's horseshit.
Right? Anthony Kiedis is 43 steps below.
All right,
Jagger.
Okay, so I don't have
like the band or
to
you
feel
don't?
bad now. I always felt like, man, this is just a horseshit. Like the one song from Californication where he just like spits gibberish for 10 minutes. Like what the hell goes on there? I'm sorry.
No need to apologize. You can have an
Book
opinion.
was great, and Flea is awesome, and John Frusciante's a great guitar player, and I love Chad Smith because Will Ferrell's a great drummer. You know.
Now,
I'm sorry, that Will Ferrell thing was awesome on the Tonight Show. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
So I'm going to say no offense as well, especially to Bryce. John Frusciante, in my opinion, is the greatest guitar player of all time.
Whoa.
He is just so.
Whoa. I love him, but of all time,
my opinion. There are many good guitar players. We could talk about that sometime tonight, but John Frusciante.
That is a bold statement.
Reason, he does it. Yeah, for me. Like I have you heard the Empyrean, his solo album?
No. Yes, I have. And I'm agreeing with you. Frusciante is amazing.
Listen to the Empyrean.
He's one of those players and one of those rare, I would say, modern day players. Where as soon as you hear it, you hear that tone.
You know it's him. Yes.
It's him.
Yep,
it's
absolutely.
Richards, it's Clapton, it's Page.
But Bryce, I think in your episode you said Eric Clapton makes the guitar talk or sing, and John certainly does that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have my qualms about the guy, but
sure,
not on my top 5.
Understood. And you're a much better guitarist than I am, from what I've heard.
I'd say he's a top tier guitarist, but I wouldn't put him at the top of my list.
Well, see, honestly, everybody who has a record out and they're like a band that's been playing for 40 years, I got to think those guys are all top tier guitarists.
Oh, they're
you know what I mean?
Make a living.
The cat from Creed is a top tier guitarist, and I mean he was so good they created Alter Bridge. You know what I mean?
Now stop, Michael, because I think
but they're professionals that get paid for it. You know what I mean? That are
but there's Yngwie Malmsteen, and there's Guitar Center guitar players who are fantastic, but there's no feel.
So you're saying Wayne
soul.
from Wayne's World playing Stairway to Heaven is not a top tier?
Do you actually know why they said Stairway denied?
Yeah, we talked about it. They
couldn't afford the rights to the song.
Nice.
So he could only play 2 chords, and then the Guitar Center employee had to say Stairway denied. They wrote it into the script. But what I'm saying is, there's technically proficient and there's amazing guitar players, just like Creed.
Right.
They sing good, they look good, they sound good, but there's nothing there.
Like I will say this, like
that's what I'm going with.
I think Stevie Ray Vaughan is a fantastic guitar player, but I fucking hate his music.
I do too.
I absolutely hate it. Like, I don't like his voice. Anytime it comes on, I can't stand it. But I know that he's a great guitar player. I
would rather
him
listen to Los Lobos, who I think sounds similar guitar tone. Now you guys, Bryce and Luke, you guys will tear me apart.
So Los Lobos or Los Lonely Boys? Which one are we talking about? They're two different bands, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Los Lonely Boys. I love Los Lobos.
That dude is freaking fantastic.
Yes.
God,
Thank you for calling me out on that. Yes, I love Los Lobos. But similar tones and all that kind of stuff. But I agree with Michael whenever Stevie comes on. I'm like, yeah, this is good, but it does nothing
if
for
you
me.
get off the ones they play on the radio, you got your Pride and Joys and your those are okay. But there are some Stevie Ray Vaughan albums, and the first one that comes to mind is Blues at Sunrise. It is one of the most amazing blues albums I've ever heard, and I would recommend it to anybody. Okay. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. He's amazing. He was amazing. Check out Blues at Sunrise. He's playing with Albert King on there. He's playing with others. There's just some really, really good couple of live tracks on there that I had never heard before. Excellent. I could listen to that any day.
I think a lot of times, I think it's just like there's some guitarists that I think maybe shouldn't sing. And Bryce, I'm going to say this about Eric Clapton.
I'm guilty. I'm one of them.
Eric Clapton should just play the guitar.
Well, you know what's funny about that too, right?
That's what I think. I mean, the guy was in like 6 different bands because
that's what he thinks.
He was an asshole.
That's what he thinks, right? Like he, in his autobiography, he even says like, not a singer. I have to work very hard at singing. And if you watch a lot of his live stuff, there's a lot of times when he's not playing, his hands are off his guitar. He's trying to focus on his posture and his actual body movement to produce the best sound possible because he knows he's not a great singer. It's one of those things, right? We're all given a gift, I guess. And I like his voice, but I would agree, like, he's not like Adele, right? He's not somebody who has like this amazing.
Oh, speaking of somebody,
I go to see him for his voice. Oh yeah.
Oh, Adele. How would we not talk about Adele?
I was gonna bring it up, like just because she's like all through the spreadsheet.
Hold on. Before we go into Adele and Mariah Carey, where Michael wants to go, I will defend and say that we're all fans of bands that they don't have great singers. I mean, Neil Young, Bob Dylan.
Yep.
I mean, let's go on and on. But they're not technically proficient. So I will say for Clapton that it's not necessarily something where you're like, oh, I can't stand his voice, so I don't want to listen to the records. But if you don't connect with it, there's something there. Like Michael, what you're saying about Stevie Ray Vaughan. Maybe his guitar playing is too clean, his voice compiled with that. But I don't necessarily think it's like, oh, I can't get past his voice. Like, we all love Neil Young.
Well, I think with that, I like, similar artists, I guess. Like, to me, he kind of lumps in, and maybe I'm wrong when I say this, but like Allman Brothers. Like, I like dig.
I love the Allman Brothers.
I like that bluesy. I guess I like it more rock bluesy. I guess that's how I feel about it. But honestly, we're talking about something that's subjective, like, which is music. It's like art.
Totally.
Like if you're going to look at you're going to look at a painting, and to me, I don't know anything about art, and to me, it's just like, if it's a house, I know it's a house. But if it's some kind of thing that I'm supposed to like think about, I feel like I could have done it. Like, that's how I feel about techno music. Like, I feel if I can press a bunch of buttons. Like, I can't play guitar. I've tried. Look at these hands; they're little baby.
My son's not going to like that comment.
Oh boy!
But like, I have an argument with my brother-in-law all the time about it, and he's like, "Well, takes a lot of talent." I'm like, "To press buttons? Like, how is it talent?" But it's all.
And stay off his lawn, everyone. And stay off of his lawn.
So, Steve,
I do want to throw out another guitarist that is unlikely that some might not think about, but John Mayer.
Oh, John!
He has an album.
Company.
So good.
He has an album called the John Mayer Trio. Try.
Not only that, Born and Raised.
What's that?
Check out his album Born and Raised. If you like the John Mayer Trio record, check out Born and Raised.
I'd say that's his bluesiest studio recording.
When did that
the
come
Try
out?
episode
Sorry,
is all,
Steve,
is all
go ahead.
live. The Try episode is all live, and he's got a 3-piece trio with
Yeah.
Palladino.
Pito Palladino and I should have studied, but I can't remember the drummer. Neil Jordan, I think, comes to mind.
I can't remember. Yep.
But it's great. It's freaking fantastic, and it comes out of nowhere because at the time, bubblegum pop stuff from John Mayer, I didn't realize he was that good. And that album was him just having fun, playing great blues that he wanted to.
As a guy who
Check
just
out-
saw the Dead and Company for the first time this summer with him, like Danny's seen him a couple times, but I was like, holy shit. Like, and we were not even close, but you could see him just noodle and play like awesome. It was awesome.
And speaking of tone, like I said with John Frusciante, John Mayer's got a tone that's very recognizable in my opinion.
Yeah, he does.
Definitely. But I would just say check out the Born and Raised record.
Yep,
Steve,
I agree.
If you don't know it, or Bryce, if you don't know it, check it out.
What about his last
Especially if
one,
you love-
Danny? I thought that would be the one.
Sabrock just
I
came out of.
like Snobrock, but
I enjoyed it.
Some of Sabrock.
I like what he's doing with Sabrock though, because I think he's tongue in cheek in that a lot.
Yeah,
I'm just
very
saying, I know
80s
these guys,
mocking,
These guys are blues based, and his tone and his playing on Born and Raised, and as far as blues tones and songwriting, I think you're gonna dig that if your high water mark is the trio. Steve.
And also, if you go back to the stuff that you referred to as poppy from the early 2000s, songs like Neon, ask any professional guitar player to play that song. It's near impossible. I mean, it is.
There's a reason that man went to Berkeley, right?
Yes.
Like he is a fantastic guitar player. That dude can wail. There's a DVD of one of the Clapton Crossroads things where he has all these awesome players, right? I think it's 2004 or 2007. And John Mayer comes on and he does a version of, oh my God, I can't think of the name of the song. I'll think of it before this conversation's over. But it is on fire. It is absolutely on fire. He took this song from the 70s and he flipped it on its back and he wrote all these sweet guitar parts over it. And you can kind of tell that he's kind of liquored up, right? And he just just enough drinks not to be too drunk, not enough to be really bad, but instead you're way better than you usually are. Wow. It's amazing. Now I have to friggin' find out what that song is called.
Well, like on that Try album, he does Daughters, which is completely different than the pop version. And the pop version, I would ignore any day of the week, but that one on the blues album, I mean, it'll bring a tear to your eye.
Well, and I will say this, and I got into the Grateful Dead a lot later, and I'm not an apologist or a diehard by any means, but I will say, for him to step into those shoes, and now you can make any jokes you want to about how the audience is fried and they're gonna whoever wants to get up there and play, but his tones sound like Jerry and are better than Jerry. I will say that.
He's a better guitar
I didn't know he was playing with that band.
No, and they he's in Dead and Company, so he's took the place of Jerry with Bob Weir, and then Bill. And
Bob Weir.
Yeah, but
we should all stop and talk about Bob Weir, how great he is.
But
the guy was in Men's Health.
But I will say, so for John to go from I want to run through the halls of my high school, or Your Body is a Wonderland, or all the things that were daughter, and then to be so into the blues, and then to shift and be playing these songs from 1965 through whatever to make them sound not only passable, but inflect something new into them. That how many times do you think, Althea and all those Dead songs have been played to make them feel new again for outsiders to listen to? That's a testament to his playing. That's
absolutely. Speaking of Althea, that was the song that got him to join. I saw a documentary. He was talking about joining Dead and Co. And that was the song. He said he heard it, and he was aware of the Grateful Dead, but when he heard that song, that was what drew the passion out of him. So
love it.
So 2 things. One, I was totally wrong. It's actually Crossroads Guitar Festival 2010, and it's Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone.
Okay.
Oh,
Bill Withers.
Yeah,
my
I bet
Bill
he
Withers.
wins on that, man.
Dude, you got to check it out. It's on YouTube. Just go watch it for 10
definitely.
minutes of your life. It is freaking on fire, man. That's really what made me have respect for John Mayer, because that was like, I was kind of the same way. It's like all these pop songs. I'm like, there's some good ones. Daughters, it's a good song. It's a really great song, even though it's not like my go-to thing to listen to, but it's a great song. And then I saw that and I was like, oh, okay. Like, you're a guitar player first, and then a songwriter, and then a vocalist third, right? Like, God, he's so good. Check that out.
I think at first he was, I'm gonna write these songs to get laid, and then it was everything else. I mean, let's be honest. Like,
But
how
who
he
knows?
was.
I would agree.
But now, I mean, honestly, I don't think anything less or more of the guy. I thought he was always a good guitar player. It just, a lot of his stuff was very, kind of some poppy drivel stuff that was like that you would play in the dorm rooms to maybe make out with the girl that you.
Yeah, you heard it a lot with
and
Jack
no-
Johnson and other,
Mhm.
that genre. Yeah.
And Steve,
With
in no
Jack
way
or
am I
Dave.
in no way am I advocating for anyone to listen to any other podcast but Music Rewind. However, there's a 2-part episode on an episode called Let There Be Talk with John Mayer. Dean Del Rey is the host. We talked about, he's with Marcus King now, but they talked for about 4 hours about all of that stuff, about how he was perceived, and he loves the blues. He's all the things that we do, and how they kind of pushed him into one direction, and he was fighting against it. And again,
He was in One Direction? Oh, no, sorry.
yeah, there we go. Maybe, I have no idea. Again, not a Mayer apologist, but when we talk about all of that kind of stuff, it's because he was. I think he came out. It was like Jack Johnson, John Mayer, maybe like Donovan Frankenreiter. Do you guys remember him at all? Like all of that? No, and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, this all spawned from the Chili Peppers. So Steve, thank you for telling us that was your greatest album of 2022. So I think, Dan, you're the only one that hasn't said which album in the last few years has been.
Oh, geez. There's one of the albums that I go back to over and over again. Are you familiar at all with Deaf Heaven?
No.
So kind of a quote unquote metal, or I think they came out as like black metal. I don't know. I don't know all of the titles, and I'm sure the millions of people who are watching are gonna, tell me that I'm wrong. But they put out a record, I think last year or maybe 2 years ago, called Infinite Granite. And if you're a fan of early Smashing Pumpkins or even Siamese Dreams, the band like Ride, some of those like early drone, kind of even early Built to Spill, Luke. I know we were talking about that before. Check out that record.
Okay.
Deaf Heaven, Infinite Granite. And I will say, I've only listened to it twice today, but that there's something that hits me every time a new Built to Spill record comes out. It just seems like everything is right in the world. I don't know if it's just because it's like getting new. I don't know what it is.
He is so good. Doug Marsh is so consistent, but he brings in different players for every album. This one, I don't know if you had a good set of headphones on, but it's one of those trippy albums as well. It's just there's something going on there that just draws you in. It's
and
like
some of the lyrics and some of his lyrics just on the first couple listens about I'm trying, like he's exhausted about doing the day-to-day or playing, and now this is just me putting on his lyrics what he may or may not be thinking. But I was just like, holy cow.
I only listened to it the once this morning, but it's so far it's gonna be one that I revisit. So I'm really looking forward to dissecting it and getting into it for sure. So, but yeah, so I've got more if you want to hear it.
We're here. Let's go.
Fiona Apple, Fetch the Bolt Cutters was phenomenal. I don't know if you're a Fiona fan, but the album came out in 2020, I want to say.
Okay.
She had worked on it for what, 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was good. That was like her dogs were in the background and stuff too.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was recording like during the pandemic, right? Like stuff in the kitchen or like ambient noise, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, she was playing pots and pans, and it was just so cool how she did it. Now, if you put it on the hi-fi, it's not going to make a difference. It was recorded in her house on a computer, so I mean, she probably sent it to a good producer, mixer, whatever. But it's never going to be that album that sounds amazing, separations there and all that good stuff. But for some reason, it just hits home for me. It's very, it's from the heart.
If it's good, it's good, right? If it's
I will say, Daniel, I'm kind of surprised that you did not bring up like the two bigger bands that you have loved in the last like 10 years with Strand of Oaks and War on Drugs.
Well, one record I wanted to get to because we were talking about records that came out just with Fiona about records that came out during the pandemic. And now Michael and I are obviously homers. Apologize, but Gigaton by Pearl Jam.
Really?
I am not a fan. I have tried so hard.
7 o'clock isn't very good.
It's fine.
No, those first
River
Super
Cross
Blood Wolf Moon.
Yeah,
River Cross.
Michael likes all those slower songs, but
whoever said is it kicks you in the butt. I mean, it's
Luke. I will say when you see
Super
those
Blood
songs,
Wolf
the couple songs we saw live, whoever said in Super Blood Wolf Moon are fantastic.
So here's the deal: Super Blood
I
Wolf
think River
Moon.
Cross was so good when they did it.
It's
for
a beautiful
the pandemic
song.
Relief.
Now,
I thought it was awesome.
So everyone always complains about Ole on the 10 Clubs forum. They're always like, Ole sucks. But if you put Ole next to Super Blood Wolf Moon, it's the same song. Better lyrics for Super Blood, but it's pretty down. So did I just break the glass for you on Super Blood Wolf Moon?
No, I'll have to listen to it again. But you're basically being the record company suing John Fogerty for plagiarizing himself with Creedence.
There you go. Yes.
But
I'm surprised you said it, Dave. I thought it was a good
32
record.
years in,
But
I thought it was pretty goddamn good.
It's
better than Rolling Stones record that came out 32 years after they started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not saying it's horrible, but so Lightning Bolt didn't do anything for me. Backspacer's okay. So just their last 3 albums for me. Okay. And I still love Pearl Jam with all my heart. They're my all-time favorite band.
I will say Lightning Bolt is better than Backspacer. That's my opinion.
Sure.
About it. Even though I think Backspacer has the song that our wedding song is on.
Johnny Guitar. Is Johnny Guitar?
Yeah, Johnny Guitar. That was our wedding song.
Okay.
I
thought so.
It was Future Days, which I can't remember what record that's on now. Like
Future Days is Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lightning Bolt.
So
Michael really hates Backspacer.
Yeah, Backspacer's fine. It's our fine.
Lightning Bolt.
Again, they're all,
you guys are getting into Pearl Jam albums I've never even heard of.
Oh yeah, Steve.
We can talk Pearl Jam.
So anyway, Luke,
make your mix.
Luke, Michael had mentioned this right before when I said Pearl Jam. But do you guys know the band Strand of Oaks?
Do not.
I know of them.
It's going on the list. You should see this list that I've got going of every.
Me too.
So
the music rewind list.
It's one.
If you guys have Apple Music, you could just follow me and Danny, and there's enough for decades that you could listen to.
I'm older than you guys when it comes to that kind of stuff. I've never streamed a song in my life.
Good for you, Luke.
If I could show you what I got going on back here, it's too dark right now. But I've just it's all analog. So.
Well,
nice.
These are my books.
You've got
the records are over there. Yeah.
There you go.
But Strand of Oaks, it's one guy. He's from Goshen, Indiana.
Okay.
His name is Tim Showalter, and he grew up. He's a little bit younger, maybe early 30s, mid 30s, younger than myself. But he grew up like on the Pumpkins and all that kind of stuff. He's like his first 2 or 3 records are very acoustic driven. I think he was like a substitute teacher or something, just putting out records on the side.
Okay.
And then his breakout record is called Heel, Heal.
All right.
And then like Jay Mascis
I
has
think
a
you,
guitar
did
solo.
you talk about them in your
I did.
Sunday episode? I
Yes.
was going to say I vaguely remember.
Yes. But his newer records are just check them
Nice.
out.
They're like
Yeah.
gorgeous, especially if you're from the Midwest.
Okay.
They're like perfect Midwest records. You know,
Yeah, it's
like
well.
you put them
Well,
on like a night like tonight where it's like like the fall's coming. Like it's like exactly the type of stuff. Like it's almost like you have to say what it's called anymore. The late summer.
But the lyrics are about like and not only the lyrics, but I mean the mood. And I think what Michael's mean is like get in your car, roll down the windows. There's a crisp chill coming to the air.
Nice.
Without using the AC. Them and then War on Drugs. Those guys are awesome.
I do, yeah. That new record, I love it, but
it's not as good as
I don't know if it's in my top. Yeah, it's not as good as the other ones. I will say.
To kind of connect to that chill air, roll down windows song. Have you guys ever heard of Bon Iver?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it's pronounced Bon Iver.
You're right. It is.
No. I just hey.
Oh, there he is. There's a guy. The police.
Dude.
Hey, I just wanted
That
to.
Sting?
Yeah, no, you're totally correct. For Emma Forever Ago, that album.
Yes.
Oh,
wonderful.
That was
Skinny
recorded
Love?
in Wisconsin in a cabin in the woods.
Yep.
Really?
So good.
Like, yeah, which is
So good.
bananas. The guy he broke up with his girlfriend broke up with him, right, Dan, or
Yep.
something like that, and
yeah.
he just went to his family's like cabin and just didn't leave until he came out with a record, and
it's wow.
and then he became so cool
It's
that
powerful,
he was
for
like
sure.
on Beyonce, like Jay-Z stuff and like Beyonce's and Kanye's stuff songs.
It was Kanye. He produced Kanye's.
Kanye.
Because
Oh,
it was
right.
there was
Right.
remember the SNL skit where it was Maya Rudolph was Beyonce and Jay Farrell was Kanye West, and something about it was like whatever Bon Iver, we don't care about you, and he's like, but I
Yeah.
want to sing to you. it was it's not the best skit, but like it was kind of funny that they brought this like this random white guy in this conversation.
But it was kind of crazy how like his success, because like you said, he was with Kanye and all those guys, sort of reminded me, and not in the same way, but reminded me of like when Elliott Smith was nominated for a Grammy. Like, here's a guy who, I mean, yeah, like Elliott obviously has a bigger track record, and I'm not comparing Elliott to Bon Iver, but at the same time, you're like, what? What is
It's just hope
happening?
it doesn't end the same.
Oh,
Yes, agreed.
oh.
What a way to go.
You guys like
Yeah.
Elliott Smith? I love Elliott Smith, by the way. If anyone,
Same. Yep. But yeah, Bon Iver. I've got all of his albums. I'd say he's top 25 all time for me.
Oh,
So I'm right there with you, Bryce. Yeah.
So
One of my 22 a Million was not his latest album, but the one before that. That's one of those albums
that's a
that
good record.
has so much going on, just production wise. It's perfection. So and the most recent what was called I. That's a great album as well. But I agree with you. For Emma Forever Ago was probably his all time great.
fantastic.
Don't know if he'll ever top that one. Just the passion and the you could feel the pain. You said his girlfriend
Absolutely.
broke up with him. You could feel
Absolutely.
that in even in the guitar. It had feeling for sure.
so that kind of brings up a good question, because obviously that's the first record we heard from him, or from him, it was by himself. But do you think if it was like the second or third record, or do you think if it mattered, like if it was his third record but it was the first one you heard, do you think it would matter? Like I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of bands, you may, if they have a long track record, you might be like, well, this is my favorite record by them because that was your entry point into them.
Could be.
So do you think somebody else going, oh, well, I heard him on his fourth record and I
For
think
sure.
that's the best? Because I agree. For Emma Evergo is his best, but now I'm like, well, maybe I don't know.
Yep, I completely agree. Pearl Jam is a perfect example. I was introduced to Pearl Jam like as an actual band that I listened to frequently. Riot Act was my first album.
Was that your favorite record?
I'm gonna say
That was your
this.
first record?
No. That was my first Pearl Jam.
Wow, that's crazy because I was not big into
good
like
record.
At first I wasn't.
I was a junior in high school, so kind of formative years, you know. And something about that. My buddies and I would play poker in his back room, and we'd just crank that, and that's when I fell in love with Pearl Jam. So yes, I knew Jeremy. Yes, I knew Alive. Yes, I knew Even Flow. But Riot Act, that was the album that stuck. And
Was that the tour we went on, Dan?
Champagne. We were talking about that before the show. I wouldn't say them.
But I will say that goes back to what I was asking Bryce about, like Shinedown and all that kind of stuff, is because he was coming out of that without any sort of preconceived notions or anything, you know, like Creed and all that kind of stuff, what we were kind of ragging on before. So when you say Riot Act, automatically Michael, you know, he was like, whoa, have you heard? But if that's something that connects with you, so that's so interesting because, like I said, when you come into a band, it might not be their best. Sure. It might not even be your so-called favorite of, I could think of like Metallica, for example. And Justice for All is the first record I had. One of the first cassettes, because Michael bought it for me for my ninth, I think it was my 8th or 9th birthday.
I was at a liquor store with my dad, and I grabbed the cassette and said, "Danny likes this band."
But I remember, didn't know what it was. This was before they had videos out, because one wasn't even out yet when the cassette came out, the video. So I remember listening to that, all blah 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 blah. But so that for me is my quote unquote favorite Metallica record. Sure. I don't think it's their best by any stretch of the imagination. I would even say I would probably enjoy Masters more, or go on and on. So it's very interesting to say, like, oh, Riot Act, or coming into like Shinedown records and stuff. And I think that's sort of what this whole, you know, what Music Rewind is about. Like, we are talking about all these episodes and stuff, is I would have never listened to, you know, Bryce, you're talking about the Eric Clapton record, you know, your episode had nothing, completely passed me by. I would have never given it a second thought. Yeah. In fact, the first time I heard it was after your episode.
Yep, and I agree. It was the same thing with me.
You know, the same thing with, like, who hasn't heard Lightning Crashes, or, you know, the live Throwing Copper record? But I would have never given it a second thought except after, you know, the episode. And I think that's what's awesome about it, is because you're coming in, you're talking about different things and what resonates with you. And anyway,
speaking of
that's a question that I had to decide for you guys. Have you discovered and really latched on to any records that you've heard through Music Rewind?
I'm not going to say that I stuck to it because of Music Rewind, but my favorite episode of Music Rewind was the Throwing Copper episode that you just mentioned. So,
she was. I mean,
Meryl
that
loves live.
Pretty passionate, and the tattoo and everything. It's not like I got a Pearl Jam tattoo. You know,
sure. Oh, it's amazing that she got to. It influenced her career, and then she got to meet the band.
See, that's the kind of story that you want to hear on this show. I want people to come out of the woodwork that have those kind of stories, that have the meeting the band or
right.
You know, that.
And not only that, she you know, she goes and buys the record, or not the record, but the CD or I forget. And then she sits down, she's reading the liner notes and all that kind of stuff. And instantly, I remember listening to it when it came out on the train, and I'm like, I'm right there thinking about how many CDs or records or cassettes where I was like devouring everything. And like I said, yeah,
it's so cool. It's so cool to see that connection with people, and that's what I love about this podcast, is that. I do have my own personal story about that if you guys want to hear it. It's between me and this guitar player. So, do any of you know who Davey Knowles and Backdoor Slam is? Or Davey Knowles? Or Backdoor Slam?
Backdoor Slam, yeah. I saw them at Bonnaroo. They were great.
So, Backdoor Slam. Backdoor Slam is now just Davey Knowles. They've split off. Davey Knowles is the lead singer and the guitar player. It was a power trio thing in the early, I want to say 2008 and on. They just were Davey Knowles was like 17 at the time, and he was just this powerhouse guitar player. Ended up playing with Peter Frampton. Now he's like one of the better blues rock guitar players out there. He's very small still, but over the years he's starting to grow a decent following. Like he just got done playing a whole bunch of blues festivals throughout the country this summer. Anyway, so I saw him last year. last year. And he was in Denver, so I go down to Denver because I've been listening to this guy for, years. Like when I really started getting into the blues, probably 2008, I want to say somewhere in there.
That's when I saw him. Was 08.
Yeah. Okay.
I bought that album that year.
Yeah, you bought the Backdoor Slam album, right? Like,
yes.
This one.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so that was what I came in on as well. And he was amazing, right? I was like, wow, this person can play. What a voice, right? Like, God, he's such a great guitarist. So listening to it for years and years, kind of lost him after he like Backdoor Slam did this one album. Went through, he did like a whole thing. He split off into like Davey Knowles and Backdoor Slam. So it was like still him with Backdoor Slam, but it was kind of a in-between section of his career. And so he came out with that album. I caught on to him again, like kind of later high school. And I'm like, wow, man, I forgot about Davey Knowles. He's so good. So I just like, again, replayed that album, right? That one album that just really connects with you. So I replayed that one. I was listening to the old album. Love this guy. And it kind of resonated with me because I was really trying to aspire to be a guitar player and do that job and be that person. So to see somebody his age to do that, and I was kind of right around his age. He's like 5 or 6 years older than me, something like that. So it's like, wow, cool. You're actually like out there killing it. So it was a big inspiration, right? So I go down to Denver. I see this guy. I get there, get my tickets, get there early. I'm like, cool, I got like front row. I'm right next to the stage. It's going to be sweet. So I'm like, man, I want a shirt. So I go up to the merch booth and I'm like, hey, like, what do you got? And this lady's showing me the stuff. And I'm like, do you guys take card or cash? And all I had was card. I didn't have any cash. She's like, no, I don't know. I need to talk to Davey about this. So if you want to come back in like 10 or 15 minutes, I'm sure he'll come down and he'll tell me. And then when you come back, I should have an answer. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go down. I'm sitting by the stage. We're having a few drinks. I see this guy walk out of the elevator and I'm like, looks like Davey Knowles, right? So I'm like, all right, I gotta go say hello if it's him. So I walk my little butt up to the merch booth and he's standing there and I'm just like, this freaking Davey Knowles, man. Like, that's freaking Davey Knowles. I'm freaking out, right? Like internally I'm screaming like a little girl. And so, like I let him do his thing. I'm not bugging him. And he comes around the booth to walk towards the stage and I catch him. And I was the first person to catch him, thankfully. And so little precursor to this, I was kind of like, he just came out with a new album and that's what he was touring for. And so I really love a lot of songs off of this new album that he came out with in 2021. And so I was like taking them and I was playing to them on Instagram, right? I was tagging him in it. I'm like, oh man, Davey Knowles is so good. You got to check out this album. So he comes around the booth, he goes to the stage. I'm like, hey, I know you're busy. I don't mean to bug you, but are you Davey Knowles? And he goes, yeah, man, I am, right? And I'm like, oh, this is freaking sweet, right? I'm freaking out. I'm like, God, that's so cool. So I'm like, dude, I start girling, right? I'm like, hardcore, I start fangirling. I'm like, man, I've listened to you since I was like 12 or 13 years old. I'm like, one of your biggest fans, and he, before I could get any of that out, though, I was like, Davey, like, I've been listening to you. And when I said that, his eyes get like the size of the moon. And he's like, you're that guy on Instagram, aren't you? And I was like,
no way.
Yeah.
Like that guy? Like, I'm a guy on Instagram, sure. And he's like, no, man, you're that guy that's like been redoing my songs on your reels. And I'm like, yeah, I've been doing that over the past like month. Yeah. And he's like, dude, you're so good. You're so freaking excellent. Man, you're amazing. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to die now. That's what I needed.
Nice.
That's amazing, dude.
Awesome.
It was crazy cool, man. It was crazy cool. Nicest dude. He's so nice. And I'm like, dude, that's amazing. Before I could say anything to you about you influencing me, you told me how good you think I am, which is a freaking insane compliment. Like that that really
That's
kind of
really
was
cool.
just like, you're on the right path. Like, keep doing what you're doing, right? So I was like, well, all right, man, I was going to buy a shirt or something. Can I have you sign it? And he's like, are you buying a record? And I'm like, I was going to buy your LP. And he was like, all right. Yeah, man. Sure. So I'm like, can I get a picture? He's like, yeah, of course. We do a couple pictures, me and him and my wife and whatever. And then he's like, well, give me that record, right? And he opens it and he's like, I'm not supposed to do this, so don't tell anybody. And he signs this record for me and he hands it to me. He's like, here you go, man. And I'm like, what? You're not supposed to do that. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, great. Like, I asked you to sign it. I didn't think you were going to say that, but then you did it, right? So then, like, I was stupid. Next day I freaked out. I'm like, I got to meet David Knowles. Here's my signed record, right? Like, I freaked out. Well, a few days later, I see an ad and his record company gives those away as like giveaways. So signed David Knowles albums, you're not going to get unless you get it through a giveaway. So I was like, that's
awesome.
So that was
Nice.
Very cool.
Very neat.
And see, yeah,
That's
that,
awesome.
if you could get more, I know you're not just going to dig people up like that, but if anyone's listening and you have awesome stories like that, bring them to the table. Come on Steve's podcast and bring it out.
Definitely.
When Meryl said that she helped Ed move, I mean, who gets the chance to do that?
Yeah,
Their
your
idol.
musical
Yeah.
idol. Yeah, you get to just help them move. That's crazy.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, I've loved throwing copper since I was a kid. So that was that one hit home. Same with Wilco, Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. That's been an album dear to my heart for many, many moons, and it was awesome to see that one take off too. So I was really hoping to be the number one episode of season 2, but that thing just blew me out of the water. So
yeah, Wilco and the Dad Rock. It just kind of skyrocketed.
And speaking of headphones albums, yes, I know you guys approached that in the episode, but that one, there's so much happening. Spoons banging, just so much. It's an oral
rhythmic noise. I think I called it.
Yes, AURAL, not OR.
It's such a good record that they made a whole documentary about it.
As it stands right now for season 2, say Yankee Hotel Foxtrot is 1, but Live Rust has a gigantic following.
Nice.
Julian's
episode. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice guy. Nice dude.
Yeah. He's got some new singles out. Yellow Eyes recently. Great tune.
Oh my God. Dude, I'm drawing a blank right now, but The Flood. The Flood. I am in love with The Flood. The Flood is
The Flood
great.
and Alcohol. All great
Alcohol.
tunes.
There's another one that I'm thinking of that I really love that came out just after or before The Flood.
I mean, these albums all pale to Animals.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone's favorite episode and favorite record.
Animals.
Steve,
well
I
over
have to
1,000
say
downloads,
that question on the thing.
My
my wife was wondering, why are you laughing so loud? I go, because Steve put a question and said, what was the best episode and why was it Animals? And I was just cracking up. I'm like, this is amazing.
Don't tell the viewers how the sausage is made, Michael.
But he said it was in the question. And I was laughing because I was reading it today because I'm like, I want to be prepared and everything. And I'm doing work from home. Why is it Animals? And
you know what I love about the Steve and Al episodes? You guys just have a bond. It's that family knowledge. You guys have known each other since you were kids. Like in the let's go back to the very beginning. Band on the Run. You guys describing your grandma's 8-track player. You described
that
it. That
hi-fi system was a beast. It was huge.
Sure. But see, those are the kind of stories you want to hear too. So not only do you want to hear the cool stories of meeting the band or having an awesome show experience, but also the personal stuff. I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to your show as well.
I love how he knew the records that were left there because they were crap.
Sure. How amazing is that? I can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, but Al can remember.
When me and my sister got the chance to sample the record collection at my grandma's house, all that was left there was like the Funky Town, Lip Sync, and the Carpenters.
And the Best of Bread.
Oh.
And the Best of Bread.
There you go. Yes.
Sorry, there's no way we can't have a Music Rewind discussion without the best of bread.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Best of bread.
But Luke, what's cool to your point, and I think it goes back to like how many times have you listened to Band on the Run? Like how many times have you listened to, you know, your episode Quadrophenia or Michael Versus and all those kind of records? But when you hear it again through somebody else's storytelling or somebody else's like that, the records that were left or the 8-track, those tangible memories, which is I think why we're all music fans to begin with.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? And to listen to those episodes and then to hear why it means so much and to either discover them or fall in love with them or to hear something new. I think that's what's, you know, pretty fantastic about this podcast because
Agreed.
it's not,
Yeah. I will say one of my favorite episodes was the DMX one.
Yep.
Because
Dom.
I will be honest with you, like I was never a big DMX guy, and like the joke was always like, and from Marissa's family was the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer version of that DMX did, and you know he just barked and sounded all this stuff. But when Dom started talking about it, and then like meeting Dom and like, well, you know, as much as we could because unfortunately he was going through like the Holland Tunnel and the worst Wi-Fi ever.
We
on
made
the
it
90s, on the
we made it
90s,
work.
Yeah, in the 90s podcast. And you know, he was such a cool guy. And then I'm really excited about, you know, him doing Hybrid Theory because it's interesting from a guy that is lived everywhere. You know, that was really cool. You hear about like where he was from and all these different places. And, you know, for the most part, like Danny and I really never left Illinois, you know, and we're from a small town and we love our music and everything. But like the DMX thing was really cool because I just wasn't a fan of DMX. And then I listened to it, like the record after, because I do it probably similar to Danny does it. Like I don't listen to the record. Like if I know the record, I know it, you know, but then I listen to the show and then I listen to the record after the show. And to me, that's like, it's like almost listening to it like a different set of ears, even though if I've heard Quadrophenia 100 times or Animals 100 times, like to listen to the way that it's supposed to sound to somebody else, you know, like I love Paul McCartney, but like, and Wings and Band on the Run is one of my favorite records, but it was really cool, like to hear it that way. And I think that's what makes the show really good. And I think that I texted you that I'm like, it's an itch that people like, or, you know, it's one of those things that it's like a good thing that came out in the world that a bunch of, I mean,
no,
for most of us that have nothing to do with music, we just love it. You know, like I can't play, I've tried, but.
And some of those albums, you know, way outside my comfort zone. DMX, I mean, past Rough Riders Anthem, I couldn't have named you another song.
I didn't know him either.
And so, you know, walking through that album with Dom, it was really cool to hear how he discovered it with his brother, and then also how that album filled the gap between and after Biggie and Tupac, that void. That was one of the hip hop artists that stepped up. And then in season 2, talking with Aaron Whitfield about Common, same thing. It was another branch of hip hop and that level of poetry that I never would have listened to, but it was fantastic to hear it in that context. And I enjoy both albums.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, Common B is like a record that I've really liked. And so like I was excited to hear about it. But like DMX, I'm like, whatever. It's whatever was on MTV back in the day. I didn't really care for it. But I liked, you know, rap and I liked hip hop and R&B. But there's something about DMX but after he talked about it and all the different ways, and that's what's cool. And honestly, Steve, for season 3, like I will tell you this, like I'm pretty excited that you're doing Lord, because that record was like I've talked about it in the past about like I got divorced and everything and all that and stuff, and that record for some reason like helped me through my divorce. I don't know why, but Green Light was a song that
green light.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know the album
was.
now. I've listened to it.
Yeah,
But
I don't
hadn't
know what it
before
was,
this.
but I was very excited about it, and like, you know, it helped me like get through any crap I had to go through, and then next thing I know, like 6 months later, I meet my future wife, and you know, my life is a lot better. I mean, I'm fat and happy about it now.
I
Way
love
fatter,
music.
way fatter.
Well, on that note, the Alabama Shakes episode is a personal favorite of mine.
Great record.
Demetrius Jamal is a close friend of mine. I've worked with him since the early 2000s, and I knew we stopped doing the satellite engineer game with the government right about the same time. He went in a different direction, and I knew he went doing the audio engineer career. And him and his wife, you know, they came to our wedding. You know, there was just they were there. They lived downtown Atlanta. We live out in the burbs, and I had no idea that he had gotten divorced and that was going to be the soundtrack to his divorce. It was a very
amazing.
personal episode to him.
Yeah,
and I tried not to let it, you know, be known on that particular episode during editing that, like, holy shit, man, you're divorced. I didn't know. Nobody knew. They kept it quiet, and this was his, you know, almost final step of closure. And it was a very, very well received episode. A lot of people liked that one.
Yeah, and that I will say that one was another one.
Oh, that was great. Yeah.
Yep.
Really like heartfelt and like just a fantastic.
I had never
discussion.
listened to the album before the podcast, and I put it on. Steve, you emailed Al and I personally and said, put your headphones on and listen to this one. It's got a lot going on, and I enjoyed it very much.
Oh,
another 2000s band that everyone should listen to. You know,
2010s, yeah, 2010s. We'll put them in that.
Her solo record's her solo record is really good too. That woman is
soul. Yep, she's
Brittany Howard.
But Steve, what you just mentioned there about, you know, you didn't know anything about her, you know, so for Luke, Bryce, anyone listening, you know, Steve, Michael, and I grew up together. Michael and I are cousins. If anybody didn't know that, Michael's my older cousin by a year and 20 days.
We look very similar.
Yeah, we're but when you hear somebody's favorite record and what it means to them, and Michael and I have been talking music, I think, since we first uttered our first words about yeah, because we've been talking about everything. But to hear him on Versus or to hear him on Zeppelin 3, Steve, to hear you talk about Animals, you know, all that kind of stuff, and then to meet guys, you know, people, Bryce, Luke, what a record means to you, and then to listen to it again or rediscover it. I just keep going back to it. It's just, there's something about this podcast that is, it's not appointment listening, like, oh my God, you're gonna, you know, if you want to hear about 5/8 notes and all that kind of stuff and who produced what, right? But if you just want to hear about what a visceral feeling listen to a record is, or what it means to you, or what it has meant to you, or what it continues to mean to you, divorce records, the first time you heard this, you know, Bryce, when you're talking about being the cab of your dad's truck going to a monster rally,
that was deep. I enjoyed that.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I've got a 6-year-old son, and I'm thinking, what am I playing? What is he gonna remember? That kind of stuff is just, yeah.
What will influence somebody else along the way, and you don't even know you did it.
It tugs on the heartstrings. It tugs on the
Exactly.
heartstrings for sure.
Music is amazing, and that's what I love about it. That's what I love about the podcast. It brings you into this world of like memories for everybody, and no matter the album, if you listen to the podcast, you can come back and you're like, oh, you know, I don't even know who these guys are. Like, there's a few you guys have mentioned tonight that I'm like, I have no idea, but I'll go later and I'll listen to these, be like, man, holy crap, like that's cool, you know. And yeah, there's
such a wide spectrum of ages that people have brought albums to the table, which I like, you know, whether it's, you know, a 6 or 7-year-old listening to Eric Clapton or Band on the Run or Kiss, you know, those are like the, you know, the first things that they remember, and it really, really clicks with them. Or the high school years where, who am I? What is my musical, you know, identity or musical journey? You know, that's where you're going to get your Lauryn Hill, your DMX, your Pearl Jam, Sunny Day Real Estate. But then there's also the adult ones. We mentioned Alabama Shakes, Bruce Springsteen, Nebraska was another one. Preservation Hall Jazz Band for me. There's so many different. I don't know. The album that clicks with people clicks for different reasons at different points in their life, and that's pretty amazing to me.
Yes.
Well, and what I think about it too, Steve, is that, and what a testament is to your platform and to this podcast is, it's a judgment-free zone. It's two friends talking about a record, or whether we just met when the recording turned on or whatever, or if you listen to the record or not. But do you like Adele? Do you like Phantom of the Opera? That was a great.
Oh yeah, the Phantom episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not like, oh well, you should have picked this obscure indie band. And I know Michael.
Sunny Day Real Estate.
Sorry.
That's the guy's like, oh, I gotta pick the weird one.
I just got called out, didn't I? Luke with the dagger.
Hey,
off the turnbuckle with the chair.
Going back to your no judgment, no judgment comment.
Oh my god!
There is that one weird ass song on that album, though, Danny.
I really didn't pick that record to be weird or off kilter. I love that. I love Diary.
Giving you a gaff.
Well, on Sunny Day Real Estate, that was one that, having grown up right in that era with, all the Pearl Jam and Pumpkins and everything, I skipped right over Sunny Day Real Estate. I didn't discover it until you.
That would have been hard, Steve. You have to kind of be like dig deep to kind of know.
But I think, and
it was great. I loved it.
But I think I'll go back to, listen to my episode, but I think it just hit in that time where I got the cassette, and then I first started listening to it when I had a Walkman, and then I got my first car that had a cassette deck, and I started listening to it with the windows down, as we were talking about before, and then you start listening. So it wasn't necessarily like, and actually all of the it's the emo and basis of all that stuff, I found out about way after. It was just one of those things that I loved and I loved to listen to, and then oh, you like that? It's cool. Sure. No,
I think that
the album cover had the Peoples on it, which Justin played with all the time. My brother Justin.
That's why
the Little Peoples, the
Little Peoples, that alone was.
There you go. Nice.
And apparently their reunion tour is doing quite well. So
good.
They're going to be at Riot Fest here in Chicago next weekend. Yeah,
I think
their drummer liked one of my Instagram posts, so that's.
I was going to say,
awesome.
Nice.
Was that was in the intro of Bryce's interview or Bryce's episode or Luke's? When you talking about the high water mark?
Yeah, high water.
I think it was Bryce's because you were talking about maybe a producer or something. Bryce had liked
the Hall & Oates producer.
Oh,
the Hall & Oates. Yes. Yes, had liked the tweet or something of yours, and then Steve said,
"Oh yeah.
Well, Will Goldsmith from Sunny Day Real Estate like this."
Yeah,
I've got it framed. It's on my
nice.
It's on my fridge. No, I'm kidding. But
I think that leads back to your previous statement. So, would 2022 Danny, if he had never heard Diary, would he have that same response to the album? I think it's right place at right time when it comes to
totally.
to that passion.
I would say probably not as visceral and not as brought it together, but sure. I mentioned Def Heaven's Infinite Granite before about a record that came out at the same time, within the last few years, and I think there's DNA between Diary and that record.
Sure.
There's sort of those same guitar tones, that undertone. So no, I don't think it would. Great point. I don't think it would impact me the same way.
Sure.
So I'm going to flip that. Because Animals for me was high school, and if I listened to Animals for the first time today, I think it would have the same impact. However, my other one, Preservation Hall Jazz Band, that was adult Steve. Had I heard that album, that's a specific genre of music. If I would have listened to that when I was 16 or 17, I wouldn't have cared two shits about it.
Sure.
Well, that kind of brings up a good point. and to Luke's point, is there a record that maybe you've heard or tried to listen to or whatever it is, it's been on top of mind. Maybe you have to revisit it, go back. Maybe it's not a record. Maybe it's a band.
Yeah, it's called OK Computer.
In the last few years has resonated with you in a way that maybe it didn't before.
OK Computer. Absolutely.
Hated it at first, or it didn't resonate, and now you like it now?
I talked about this on Luke's episode a bit.
Right.
Because I was such a big Pink Floyd fan, some of the guys in the garage, they were like, you have to like Radiohead. You know, if you like Pink Floyd, you are required to like Radiohead. It's like, all right, let's play it, let's hear it out. And it was just not. It didn't click with me, and that had a lot to do with it. The pressure of just, you know, you will listen. Hey, Alan.
Hey,
Nice.
Al's here.
Oh my gosh, you guys are still babbling on about nonsense
We
that
are.
nobody cares about.
Is that a rat tail hanging over your shoulder there?
No, it's his Ed
That's my
Kowalski
earbud.
brain
yeah.
throwing copper.
I thought you were doing the Ed Kowalski too.
This is my glass. This is
All
my
right,
glasses
all
because my grandma glasses, so I don't lose them.
Cool points went down. I thought you had a rat tail going.
Don't worry, Alan. We all got the readers these days. We all have to now and then. You know,
some of us went blind early.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have, but I stare at a computer every day.
Steve, really quickly, we're gonna bring Alan, but I will say, Radiohead was late for me, as was Tool, because I love the Bends, but
the Benz is amazing. But completely different than their modern
just
stuff.
makes me think of Mike's support group video.
Yes, that was excellent. I listened to that after you.
That
after
YouTube
you
video is one of the funniest things that
it's great.
I've ever
But
seen.
I will say that's the last record. That's where I checked out, and Michael can attest. He kept, you got to listen to these. You got to, and I'm like,
after Luke's episode,
and then I went back. Yeah.
After Luke's episode of In Rainbows, I went back and listened to OK Computer. I haven't gotten through Kid A yet, but I went back and listened to OK Computer, and I have a much higher appreciation for it now. But at the time, I was like, this is just nonsense to me.
Steve, I will say you got to play Kid A and Amnesiac. Like, just they're pretty much like they were all made at the same time,
back to back.
I will say this about me and my cousin Danny. We've been listening to music together forever. I am definitely more of like the progressive rock, experimental, different guy, and Danny's definitely more of like the punk aspect. Like Danny, there's a lot of punk bands that Danny likes, or punk type sounds that I'm like, and he has to like pull me into it. And we've been talking about music since, like he said, like since birth, and there have been times like we disagree on like albums and artists and everything, because like I like, you know, like I made Danny like get into Rush more, or like Steely Dan. I was like, I remember I got this exact text from him. He goes, "Are we fucking seriously listening to Steely Dan?" And I'm like, I go, "Yeah, but like good Steely Dan,"
which I
like,
do now appreciate. But...
Alan will appreciate
Steely Dan, like garlic.
Yeah,
Can't Buy a Thrill is amazing.
But I just always think of like I hated Steely Dan when I was
Asia.
Asia, I'm not an Asia fan. Can't Buy a Thrill though. I'd listen to that all day, every day.
But I
hated
more progressive, but that's just Danny and I. That's our dynamic has always been that way. I'm way more trippy type stuff, and he's just like, let's play 3 chords and rock.
If it sounds like the Replacements, sort of being molested by Kill 'Em All by Metallica, I'm in.
Yeah. And I'm more
anyway,
like
maybe
Tool's late stuff with like the 35-minute like bass solo, you know, that's just how I am.
What were you saying, Al?
For me, Steely Dan, I didn't get into them until probably, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago. They were always too slick for me. I always liked something that was a little rougher.
Thank you, Al. Thank you.
A little rawer, if that's more raw.
Yeah.
It was too slick for me. Even, and Steve's not gonna like this, but even the Eagles, We're too slick for me for the longest time.
Steve's getting the gloves out.
All right, we can get into the Eagles here because
Steve, do you want to get my wife in here for the Eagles? Because
they're near flawless.
She will be here to fight for the Eagles. That was their first concert we ever went to.
I mean, their last album was Hell Freezes Over. Nothing after that. So
they had that Walmart release.
Nothing after that.
My old man,
just like U2 has had nothing after Octoon Baby. Just
Steve. I will say this: one of the funniest things ever was we went to the show at the Eagle. Went to the Eagle show at the UC, and my wife is there, and she's not my wife at the time, but she's in there and she is dancing. She's the only person dancing in like the 200 sections. She's like, why are these?
That's because everybody's got bad knees. They can't.
I was like, because they're all in their 60s and 70s. I go, you're the youngest person here by like 30 years besides me.
As I saw the Eagles right before the world ended doing their Hotel California tour, and it was fantastic. Me, my brothers, and my dad all saw them here in Atlanta, and everybody sat and just there wasn't much, stand up rock and dancing.
Not a lot of movement going on.
No.
That's how I met Tool, but that's because I take a lot of drugs when I go see Tool.
Who is the best musician ever to play in the Eagles?
Best musician?
Joe Walsh.
I was going to say Joe Walsh, right?
I say Joe Walsh. Who do you say, Steve?
Who's the best singer?
That's a very vague and difficult question because I like Al's answer. I like Bernie Leadon a lot in the early days. I
didn't hear Al. Al, what was your answer?
Don Felder.
I said Don Felder. I mean, he wrote Hotel California.
Hotel California. Music, so. One of the most underrated bass players, I will say.
Yeah, but Joe Walsh, man, he fucking is one of the best guitar players.
I'm on record for Joe Walsh, but
Joe Walsh.
Well, Don Felder's the guitarist, though. Just
I'm
FYI.
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Timothy B. Schmidt, and then
Randy Meisner.
Meisner. Sorry. Yeah.
But I mean, with Don Henley, I'm just going to throw it out there. I mean, when you say musician,
made Bill Collins happen.
When you say musician, I mean, there's an arrangement process, and Bryce, maybe you can back me up on this. There's a lot more, and when you are the drummer of the rhythm section, you're I don't know. I really want to say Don Henley as far as the because you didn't say guitarist, you said musician, so there's just a lot more to it.
Okay, maybe not the best.
Yeah, but nobody goes, oh man, the drumming that Don Henley did. Whoa,
who's your favorite? Or who's your favorite? What's your go-to? Like when you think of the Eagles, who's your favorite member of the Eagles? Is that better?
Well, on that I would say
Joe Wall.
No, I'm going to say Glenn Frey.
Glenn Frey,
easily. I like his vocals and I like his early songs a lot. The Desperado is a fantastic album.
Did he write? Did he do Tequila Sunrise? Is that him?
Yeah, that's his vocals on that one.
That's why I love that documentary, Steve. When
History of the Eagles.
Yeah, when he was just like, I know I could sing, but we have Don fucking Henley here to sing, so we're gonna fucking have him sing. And I'm sorry I'm swearing, but like that's what he said, in the documentary. Like he goes, we have Don fucking Henley singing. So why would we have anybody else?
There was a lot of talent in that band. And when you have that much talent and then over time, egos, I mean, you're going to have an implosion.
Yeah, for sure. We should.
They pretty much have always been a super group, right?
When you want to just.
You could call it that because, I mean, with the session musicians mixed in with some people from Poco and Flying Burrito Brothers all bangled into one.
Poco.
Yeah. But typically, I think the classic rock definition is more when they come from big groups, though.
Yeah,
I don't think Henley and Frey were in.
Like Led Zeppelin, then would have been a super group, because they were.
Totally. Yeah.
Black Country,
Blind Faith or Cream,
Blind Faith.
Yeah, that's Blind Faith.
Sure,
you're right.
That, yeah,
you're right. Yeah, you're right. James Gang.
I was going to say if you're gonna scrutinize Eagles members, we should just scrutinize all the Steely Dan members that have played on albums. That'd be a whole podcast in itself.
The problem is I
I
can't
don't-
name a
different
Steely Dan
Members
member.
of
I
Steely
just
Dan,
know
all
Donald
the studio
Fagen.
musicians.
That's the only
I was
one
gonna
I
say,
know.
is Fagan the one who died?
Isn't he died? That's the only reason I know, because he died.
Is it he died?
Yeah.
Becker,
I think he's
Walter
dead.
Becker's the one
This
that died.
this guy here is dead.
Donald
Cross him off
Fagen's
the
still
list.
alive, as far as I know, unless
It's the other guy. It's the other
The
guy.
other guy now? Nah,
well, there's like
got me beat.
Well, Al,
We
since
should-
since you're
we should,
a latecomer to
maybe-
this, are there any episodes of Music Rewind that stand out to you that maybe brought an album to your attention that you still listen to? Memorable moments.
well, I mean, that's easy for me. I mean, I've said it a couple times that the Animals one that brought that back into my view, my listening habits big time, because I totally missed that album. I got lost in the shuffle of all the other albums I got.
Luke, have you bought the re-release yet?
It's
Is that
out
out? Yes.
October 7th.
Yep, it should be in the mail short or when it's released. I hit purchase the second one on their website.
October
so
7th.
I got the SACD. I got the vinyl. When I heard Dogs, holy crap!
Yeah.
that was so beautiful.
It was.
Rick Wright has never sounded so good. Whoever remixed that should get an award.
I agree.
Animals,
But
it
it's
sounds
different
great.
from the 2018
Slow-
remix.
The 2018 remix is what's coming out. So
Yeah.
they've battled. So Gilmore and Waters, they have been
What?
battling for the last 4 years over liner notes.
Wait a
This
minute.
should have
So
This should have been
2018,
released in 2018.
it's already out. So
is
the
it bootleg
28
though?
I saw in the record store it said 2018 remix, and I thought it was the new one, but I just read on the website that it said October 7th is the official US release, and then it's like 24th is the UK release for the new. Animals
October
remix.
is when
But like,
the new.
what is the difference?
I shouldn't say
This
that.
is what my
September
question-
16th is.
Yeah, Google's
Isn't it
telling me
September
September
16th?
16th.
Yeah, so it's next week. It's coming out next week. But anyway, so 2018. If you go to the website, the hype sticker on the album, it's the 2018 mix, because again, Gilmore and Waters are being little babies, and they were arguing over some minuscule liner note that meant nothing. So they've been hoarding this beautiful masterpiece. No joke. I've listened to that Dogs remix 20 times.
Is it that good?
It is. My opinion,
excellent.
it is. My opinion.
It is really, really good.
Yep. If
you are a fan of the original and you know Dogs kind of by heart, then you'll notice all the little things.
Yep. I can't wait to put it on the hi-fi. It's going to be everywhere. I love listening to music in a dark room, no lights on at night, and I can say, "There's the guitar, there's the drums, there's the bass guitar. Everything. It's just layer sandwich. I don't know.
Amazing.
Yes. I am so looking forward to that album. So
Amazing.
Anyway,
I will say really quickly, since Al joined, we'd be remiss if we didn't say he's the OG.
He is.
Who started this whole thing with Steve.
Number one.
Well,
and Al,
I'm the oldest
actually, I have a
person
question.
here. I'll go with that.
I have a question.
No, I just meant episode 1.
So
yeah.
We've already talked about episode 1, Al. So I did have a question for you about episode 1, though. So so Quadrophenia has recently surpassed Band on the Run as far as downloads go. So I'd like to know, in your own words, why you think my taste in music is better than yours.
Well, okay. Well, when I first got on here, we were talking about Radiohead, so no. That's.
Wait. Let me get updated numbers here. Which episodes? Band on the Run is
Paul McCartney Band on the Run and the Who Quadrophenia. I have overtaken you. So
Band on the Run is at 430 downloads, and
but am I above both of them?
Hey, no, but listen, I 5 more downloads. I'm gonna beat Versus and DMX, which are the next 2.
What about
you have 9 more than Al, Luke?
Yes.
Hey, Steve, where's Diary?
I'm
2?
I'm doing Abbey Road.
Diary is 2, but here's why.
I'm doing Abbey Road and Dark Side of the Moon.
There you go.
At the same time.
Diary got the crossover bump, though, Dan.
BTS, Al.
Diary got the crossover bump from the Cinema Decon podcast.
No, Steve, I meant I thought I had 2 downloads, not second.
No,
My
Diary
parents didn't even listen. My wife didn't even listen.
Diary did pretty well, and I really did enjoy that episode. So yeah, don't sell yourself short. But
Hey, Danny, our moms listened to it. That's all it means.
No,
that's right.
Your mom
Your
did?
mom might have. No, my
mom. My mom and Marissa's mom 1,000% listened to like our episodes. They were the ones that are like, so what time does this thing start? How does it work? What do we got to do? Do we just hit the thing, or how does it work?
I told my wife, she said.
So your wife is an old Jewish lady like your mom, Mike?
No. This was both the moms.
Oh, okay.
Marissa's like, I walked out there to go get a beer, and it's a completely different apartment. Like, I don't know what the hell happened. She went to Michael's and Target, and I don't even recognize what the hell that apartment is right now. I have no idea what just happened. I'm only allowed to decorate this room, so like.
What a bang up job you did.
By the way, Animals is up to 1,060.
That's amazing.
So just throwing that out there.
I don't think any, but Wilco's coming for you. Wilco was just released what, a month ago.
Wilco's,
to be fair, he has his own podcast, so that's
sure.
I mean, that's.
Hey, we're not making excuses. The Yankee Hotel Foxtrot is an.
And just wait till Danny and I are on his podcast talking about Singles, which is the 30th anniversary.
Oh man, Seasons
about
is the best. Seasons is the best Chris Cornell recording period. I'm going to say that one too.
Do you know what
Seasons
I just heard today, Luke?
So
it's
good.
so funny that you said that. Is because Cameron Crowe was talking about it. I don't know if it was today or whatever.
That was on the
interview.
Sirius XM thing. Marissa told me about it.
Yeah, that he recorded that song as a joke.
Really?
Yeah,
it is
because
so beautiful.
He didn't want to. He didn't want to divulge because it's very personal. He didn't want to divulge his own like feelings or whatever. So he recorded that and said, "Well, if you need it, you can put it on there."
Best soundtrack ever.
I it's up there for sure.
Seasons
Garden State's another one.
But Seasons is one of the best Soundgarden songs.
I agree.
Cornell, you know.
Yeah. I'd say it's one of his top performances.
Luke, the guy from Soundtrack Your Life is going to have a handful with me and Danny. Yeah,
nice.
he's gonna have a handful with me and Danny. Like
okay.
I've been listening to his podcast, and it's kind of mellow. And I'm thinking the two of us are just gonna be like, we just love this record, and it's so amazing.
Ryan's got it's a fun podcast though. But he's got some great episodes. I like he does soundtracks. So it's called Soundtrack Your Life. And you talk about movie soundtracks and the movies associated.
It's a great podcast.
He's got one for Almost Famous, which is great. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Empire Records, Airheads, some really, good musical movies.
Yeah. Hey, Al.
Really I just want to ask I'll be honest with you, like you should do for
That's from your mom. I'm going to assume that's your mom.
That's my mom.
Hey,
there
Al.
she is.
I was wondering what that was.
Al.
There she is.
Al, really quickly, I'm still in Luke's question. But we sort of all went around and said, what's a record or a band from, what was it, 2010 to 2000?
We changed it to 2000.
So 2000
the last 20 years
to now, that's sort of a newer band that you're digging. Or a record maybe.
A newer
came
band?
out in the last 20 years, and I think I know the answer, Al. But I want to hear what you say.
Greta Van Fleet.
Now, can you include supergroups?
Yeah,
I want to.
Okay,
actually,
that's
can I circle back to Luke's question? Can I circle back to what was your first album that you did on Music Rewind?
In Rainbows by Radiohead, which I will stand by and defend.
How many downloads? How many downloads did you get on that one?
Oh boy!
No, hold up. I've got it up here.
I didn't think we were like pulling pants down.
335. It's
okay. And
respectable.
how many
It's
records have I
respectable.
done? Or how many rewinds have I done?
Well, if you add
one,
both,
right?
If you add both in Rainbows and Quadrophenia,
Okay.
then I smoked you, man.
I'll tell you what. Here's what I'm going to do for my second music rewind, if Steve will allow it, of course. I think I'm going to do Abbey Road, then Led Zeppelin 4, and then Dark Side. How about
Are you
those
saying
three?
Are you saying Quadrophenia?
Do you think I'll get
is
enough
all of
views on that? Do you think I'll get enough downloads?
Yeah.
Someone does have the wall though for season 3.
Nice.
Oh,
That's
man.
going to be a deep episode and a long one.
Good.
So
If you go track by track.
season 3, just to give a glimpse, we've got Master Puppets, we've got Nevermind.
With, by the way, it's me and Danny's cousin doing Master of Puppets. So like now it's like 3 relatives
Nice.
involved.
We mentioned it. We got with Cranberries. Everybody else is doing it. Why can't we? Linkin Park,
Yeah.
Hybrid Theory, The Wall, Lord, Melodrama, Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders. That's gonna be a fun one. The Chicago Blues Historian doing Chicago, the Blues Today. Chemical Romance, Black Parade, Less Than Jake, Hello Rockview, Big Star number 1. Number 1 record from Big Star.
I when you posted that, I had never heard of
I
it.
like the
Big Star like really inspired
yeah.
The oh my god. Al, you say it because my brain's broken right
R.E.M.
now, but
REM.
they
Nice.
inspired Uncle Tupelo, which inspired Wilco. Well,
yeah.
obviously Wilco and
There's a
all
good
that.
There's a good Big Star documentary out there, by the way.
Yeah.
One of
Those guys were going to be. Oh, they
inspired.
inspired the Replacements. There's a song called Alex Chilton by the Replacements. He was a lead singer of Big Star.
Okay.
And if my cousin was here, who loves
Yeah.
the Replacements, he would have mentioned that. But Steve, there's so many good records that you guys are talking about.
I'm back and I've been listening.
I know.
Sorry.
I know. You got to go to the bathroom. Marissa's like,
Sorry.
Did you mute it? I'm like, well, we'll find out if he's.
And then,
No, but
of course,
but if you haven't heard,
isn't
if you don't know
Alex
Big Star,
was
the song from the Replacements.
wasn't Alex Chilton the lead singer of the Box Tops?
He was. That's
Didn't
where
he
he
sing that
first got
song, The
famous.
Letter? The Letter.
He did.
Oh,
He
okay.
He was like 15 years old or something.
Yep, and that was his first sort of claim to fame, and then he started Big Star. And I think, Al, you were saying there was a documentary about him. Definitely check it out. It's a fantastic documentary. But then if you like the Replacements, if you like any of that music, Big Star's huge. Yeah.
They seem to be that mythological, woulda, shoulda, coulda sort of band.
Yep.
Sure. Like I said,
I think
I've never
for a lot
heard
of bands, I think when Al was saying about, like influencing REM and all that, I think to today's generation, or not today's generation, but a lot of bands that we like now, it's almost like the Velvet Underground many years ago.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, they probably
Right, not a lot of-
inspired more bands
not
than sold
more
records.
bands and
Yeah.
they better, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for, Al. Thank you.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exact. The Velvet Underground. And that's a great reference. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think the
100%.
quote with him is like, not a lot of people heard him, but everyone who did started a band. And I think that's
Fair enough.
carries over to big.
Fair enough.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Al, 2000
And they-
2022.
I don't. I don't even
I know
listen
the
to
an-
new stuff. I don't know.
I know the answer.
What's my
You-
answer? I don't know. What's my answer?
Your answer is them Crooked Vultures.
I saw
well,
them live.
Is that
And
2000?
they
it
were
was
awesome.
So awesome. I would have loved that.
They were.
That's the super group,
I
right?
saw them at the
Yep.
Aragon.
How could they
With-
not be?
John Paul
What-
Jones, Dave
John-
Grohl, and Steve, or not Steve.
Josh
Homme. I'm looking at you,
Josh
Steve, when I'm
Homme.
talking.
I will say this: like I saw them at the Aragon in Chicago, and we were like the fifth row. And my buddy Matt, who was my roommate at the time, he's like Danny said, he's like 6'4", and he was standing in front of me, and he's like, "Do you want to see him?" I'm like, well, I can. I'm the short little man, but I jump and see Dave Grohl drum, and just to see John Paul Jones play the bass. Oh, I hate to say this, but like Josh Homme, he's a great guitar player, he's a good singer, but like to see those two legends play at the
rhythm
same
section.
time,
Yep.
Like and John Paul Jones, it's fucking Led Zeppelin, man. It's
John Paul Jones.
It's John Paul Jones.
Did
Did
they
Dave was
headline
drumming
or did
like.
they open?
No, that was it. They only played by themselves. Like that was it. They
That was
came
after
out-
Lollapalooza, right, Mike?
Yeah, and I don't know how. I can't remember how my buddy got the tickets, and we went to the Aragon, and like we snuck, like we kind of did like. You go to like certain places in Chicago, like if you go down different ways, you can kind of sneak through. And man, it was so awesome. The rumor is that they're supposed to be making like another record.
They played at Taylor's tribute.
I was
concert.
just gonna say, yeah.
But did they? That's awesome.
And Josh Homme kind of got me too there for a minute, so I don't know if that kind of stalled things, but
okay.
I think they're.
I don't know. I don't follow the social media.
Yeah, he had
except for Music Rewind.
Neither do I.
Josh
I don't have social media. I just I heard that through. I think I heard it through the 10 Club. So that's my only form of social media.
Oh, really?
The forum on the 10 Club, which gets pretty toxic. So that's the whole reason I avoid
30,000 foot view. I know that Josh has had.
Wasn't he like dating the lead singer from the Distillers?
That's how
they were married. They were married.
Yeah.
They have kids together.
Yeah. She was married to the guy from Rancid for a while when they were like, and she was like a kid. It was a whole thing.
Yep.
Josh, like I said, 30,000 foot view. Josh has had, from what I know, dependency issues. Then when he got what you were saying, Luke, about like Me Too or whatever, apparently there was a photographer in the front row of one of their shows, and he took offense to it, and he kicked the camera, and it was a female photographer, and he got very aggressive with her, and
there's that, and then
not right, wrong, or indifferent, but yeah.
Brody, his ex-wife's new boyfriend, he apparently almost shoved him over a second story balcony. So,
which is funny because like the guy from I remember the guy from Rancid wanted to kill
Tim Armstrong.
There you go.
Tim Armstrong is the guy.
Apparently, I honestly the two records that came out like in the early 2000s, the Distillers. Great women punk songs. Sorry, I thought their records.
Well, let's do
no need to apologize.
How about talking about great female-fronted quote unquote punk? Michael, you know where I'm going with this. Can we talk about Hole for a minute? Luke, we didn't talk about it.
You didn't talk about Hole in the 90s either. Yeah.
If we had, I would have edited it all out.
Danny, I think you mentioned it in passing. I think you said something along the lines of Hole. I think you said it was one of your favorite albums of the 90s.
Live through
this. I was the one who I think could talk about Hole.
Okay,
I am not a fan.
Live through this is criminally underrated.
That is one of the best records from the 90s. And I know Kurt wrote it, and then she killed him.
He didn't. Stop it. Stop it.
Billy Corgan.
That documentary is so ridiculous. It's unbelievable.
Al, you're right. Billy played on it. He did not write anything on it.
Did Billy Corgan?
Well, allegedly.
Now, speaking of, so if we want to get into books,
great book.
So
that's a great book.
Yes, and I'm just now finding out that Courtney was good friends with Michael Stipe, and he really helped her through that whole ordeal.
Luke, I have that somewhere. I'm looking.
I stole that from you.
But it doesn't have. It's the without the added chapters up above. So it was written before he died, and then there's a book called like Heaven something, like I won't be able to find it, but he pretty much, a lot of what is written in there is Kurt's own mythology. Like maybe he wasn't living under a bridge, maybe his dad wasn't that terrible to him, all that kind of stuff. But that is one of the first. I read that book over and over and over again. And
I've had this since I was a kid.
So much that the spine broke and I had electrical tape
There you
on
go.
it.
Nice.
So, yeah. Anyway,
Hey, just a little spot out for season 3. Daniel Prokup is going to be doing the Nirvana Nevermind album. You might have heard of it.
Nice.
It's a record that came out in the 90s.
you know what? And I will say, I have to
I
give
like
Luke.
Bleach better.
I have to. Al, I'm with you.
I like some
I
Bleach.
like
dig
In
some
Utero
Bleach.
better.
I love In Utero as well. Francis
Oh,
Farmer.
no.
Get your
Luke,
revenge.
I have to give you credit because I was
No, you
not going to
don't.
do. No, I do. For your
The gloves are off. I should
for
not
your
have started out like that.
for your Quadrophenia episode. Not that I was listening over Al's episodes because I didn't want to throw off the algorithm.
Skew the numbers, yes.
One episode.
Right. But I was listening to that, and I think I actually texted Michael and Steve at the same time, like listening to how you were talking about it. I was always wary of doing Nevermind
Sure.
because, who doesn't like Starbucks? Who
Yep.
doesn't?
Yeah.
And who
Who
hasn't
doesn't
talked about it?
like-
Yeah. Yep.
And what else could you add to it? And not
Yeah.
that, Quadrophenia or anything of that is the same nature.
That's
But listening
yeah.
to your own I'm like, what is the only thing that I'm not adding to it, or the only reason I'm not talking about it is because of my own fear. Not saying I can add anything to the conversation or anything new to it.
Personal experience is what you
why
can
not?
add.
That's
And
the
we talked
same
about that
with
earlier.
me in Abbey Road. That's the same with
Personal
me in Abbey
experience,
Road.
Al. Tell your story. When you talk about it, tell what you feel. Tell your
Yeah.
experience with it. That's what
Yeah.
makes this podcast so
I agree.
great.
I even talk
Exactly,
about Nevermind.
exactly.
I even talk about Nevermind during verses, because without
But Al-
Nevermind, there isn't the Seattle sound and all that stuff, and
Sure.
it's not
But I
like
mean,
it wasn't being made. It brought attention to Seattle. It brought attention to
But I think
Alice in
what I'm going to
Chains
bring
and
to it,
Soundgarden and everything.
but I'm going to divorce all of that, all of that hyperbole and everything from it, like Luke was saying, or like Al, when you're talking about Abbey Road, talk about that a little bit more. Like when you first heard it, what it means to you, because it's not Abbey Road when you hear it, just like it wasn't Nevermind. It's not, my 8-year-old buying Nirvana t-shirts at Target.
I would
Nevermind
love
right now.
to, if you're serious, Al, I would love to do that album with you because
Yeah.
your experience hearing Abbey Road the first time is going to be completely different than me hearing it because I heard it in pieces on classic rock radio for years before I heard the album in full.
Exactly.
And I hate to say it, but that it didn't ruin it for me. It is still my favorite Beatles album. It kind
You're
of
wrong, but it's okay.
it is my favorite.
My favorite
I
as
do
well.
love that album.
Steve, I'm on Team Abbey Road.
Whereas Quadrophenia, I mean, outside of The Real Me and Love Reign Over Me, I hadn't heard any of those songs. That was almost like a first time listen.
But like if Al wants to do Abbey Road, you think about something like the Beatles. The Beatles have almost like they're canon. It's almost like Christmas carols. Even if you never listened to the Beatles before,
But so is Led
heard the
Zeppelin,
Beatles.
so is Pink Floyd.
No, so what I'm saying,
But
no,
the
so what
Beatles are like they're commercials,
No. So what I'm saying is that would be amazing to hear someone's personal experience about hearing Abbey Road, like we've been
Maybe
talking
I'll
about
just
for
do
the
Bad
last.
Motorfinger.
No.
That's another.
But what
great
I'm
one.
saying is, for the last 2 hours or whatever, is what brought you into that record, and then everyone knows, quote unquote, the Beatles or Abbey Road, but does anyone know it through your eyes?
They do
Does
not.
anyone know it through your perspective?
Lest
Has
Al
anyone
be
heard
known
it
as the
through
Paul
your
McCartney
ears?
guy.
There you go. Yes.
I don't want it.
You don't want to be the Paul McCartney dude?
Paul McCartney
Come
guy.
on.
Steve, we could bring my old man in here and let him talk about best
Rush?
bread for like an
Bread.
hour.
No,
Yeah.
we'll force him to talk about Rush.
I have a
Honestly,
copy.
if my
I
dad
just-
would come
I
in,
just-
he'd probably come in and talk about the Beatles, and he would be like, the Beatles won. That's the
Speaking of another fantastic thing, you talking about your dad's pranks with Rush. That was hilarious. I don't
Yeah,
I
that
don't use
was
the term
great.
laugh out loud often, but I laughed out loud to that.
Hey Alexa,
That's
I
how
did
he
the best
is.
of Rush.
I wish it was so funny because like my dad's usually not, and then Danny when he comes back in the test, like my old man is like not like a guy who's like really pranky unless he like thinks it out for a bit. And when he did that with the bread, because him and I have been fighting about bread for years, and I know he hates these bands, and so I always play him. I honestly, my wife and I, like when we talk about like Tom Petty, he legit threw me off when he was like that. Tom Petty's a piece of shit, and I'm like, Tom Petty, I go, that guy died. I go, and he's made great music. He goes, oh, he's only good.
And you said your dad loves the Wilburys, but he hates.
And
Tom
he said
Petty.
he's only good in the Wilburys. I'm like,
Yes.
I was like, the Wilburys, like the worst Tom Petty shit. And I think
Whoa.
the Wilburys are great.
Hey,
I like the
Wilburys are great.
Wilburys, but to be honest, we all know that like Tom Petty has better songs from just. The
However,
Wilburys.
I will say if there's one Wilburys member where you're like, well, I don't like his solo stuff, would you say Tom
Roy
Petty's
Orbison.
not at the top of your?
I was like, my
not at
dad
the
would
top
say-
of your list. Yeah.
Well, solo stuff. I mean, Jeff Lynne doesn't really have a solo career
Yeah,
to the
he's-
height of
Sure.
the
No,
rest of the
no,
guys.
but I mean, if you're like, oh,
ELO is a different story, but a solo career.
but
Yeah.
I mean, if you're like, oh, Wilburys, I like this.
I'm also a
Go
Tom
back
Petty.
to the super group,
I'm a Tom
but
Petty.
you're not going to be
diehard,
like,
so-
oh,
I love
get
Tom. I love
Same.
Tom
but I
Petty.
like
And
the
we all
Wilburys.
do. Right.
So it's
I-
hard to it's hard to.
But my
to
dad, like, I
produce
know
a
my
Jack
dad
today.
never liked Bob Dylan. So like, I knew right
Hates
away.
Bob
I'm like,
Dylan.
well, but,
Hates
like,
Bob Dylan.
but Bob doesn't like sing enough.
But he likes
in
Neil
the
Young.
Wilburys. But he loves Neil Young. Loves Neil Young. And he loves Frank Zappa. And he loves freaking, Leon Russell. And you're like,
Elton John.
wait a second.
Elton John, he loves John.
He loves Elton John. Like my dad, we took him to the show in like the end of 2019 because that was supposed to be the end of the tour. And you would have thought I brought my dad to like the end of the rainbow. Like, like my life is over. This is
Or
great.
maybe
I got to
the
see
end of
Elton
the
John.
Yellow Brick Road.
Yes. And then you got the
See
gamble
what you
before
did there, Danny. Yeah.
because it was right by the casino in Rosemont.
Mike,
And
you
so we
need to
got
get
gamble.
your dad on a podcast and like delve into this more. Let Steve.
Oh,
drill
I
out
don't know.
why.
Man, what do
he
you think? Yo, man, you think he would
likes-
talk?
I've got a story about the first time I met Mike's dad. Which
I mean,
first time he
specifically why he likes each band would be
Right.
fun
Oh,
to hear.
boy.
And why not
comes
this
the
group?
Facebook
But
group.
why this group?
here's what really
That
grinds
might
my
be the new
gears.
podcast.
Family
I don't
Guy
like the
reference?
guy's
Rock is
mustache.
He's more AM. Like, remember,
is-
he had the Zeppelin cassette box set, but he didn't even like Led Zeppelin.
No,
Yeah, you talked about it on 3. Doesn't even like Led Zeppelin.
Because my dad, and this is not even a joke, and if my brother ever listens to this, he'll love it because he goes,
Listens to it. It's live, sweetie.
Dad bought, well, eventually I think this will be a podcast, right? He goes, Dad bought, I'm going through Dad's CDs collection. He goes, there's got a bunch of bullshit in here, and I don't even know why. And he goes, there's like Britney Spears and like all this, and Christina Aguilera. And he goes,
Greatest
well, the
hit.
greatest hits. They're the greatest hits. And I was like, what? He goes, well, if they're greatest hits, they got to be good. I'm like, that doesn't mean like it's fucking music's good. I'm like, just because it says greatest hits, and my
That's
dad
not
still
your.
gets
That's somebody
the
else's
catalog.
opinion.
Right. My old man still gets the catalog and gets the CDs through the mail.
Nice.
Because-
I didn't know they did that anymore. That's
yes.
awesome.
BMG?
I don't know.
Wow.
I saw it and I go, how are you doing this? And he goes,
Now, see, I still buy CDs. I'm on Team Analog, like I said, but I
well,
do it
he
through
buys them
Bandcamp.
because
These are
he bought-
actually CDs behind me.
Nice.
yeah.
See, Bandcamp is
He-
amazing. You can buy the CD, you can buy the vinyl,
Yeah.
but you also get the digital download in
Yes.
Wave or FLAC or whatever. So Bandcamp is the way to go. Anyone listening?
Bandcamp is saving musicians, man.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bandcamp is great.
Oh, Bryce, you could talk about that. Is it really?
I have
Going back to
I'm
streaming?
actually, I'm not on it. I'm not on Bandcamp. I say that. And I'm not on Bandcamp.
Do it. I'll buy your album. I'll buy your songs.
I really need to. Honestly, I really do. On top of
Bandcamp Fridays. They do it every first Friday of the month. The artist gets all the proceeds.
100%.
Yeah.
Really?
Does it cost
Jason Isbell always pushes it all the time.
Wait, hold on. Al brings up a good point. What were you saying, Al?
Bryce, does it cost musicians to be on there, or can you just get on it?
If I remember right, when I started looking into it in 2019 before the pandemic with my old band, it was a very low cost to be on it at that time. And I kind of started working on it with that band, and then that band went away. So I stopped. But throughout the pandemic, it was like, hey, we're waiving our shares this month. So it might be a monthly fee or something. But it's one of those things, like, the people that know about Bandcamp, especially like listeners or other musicians that support other musicians, is they actually
familiar with it. I'll be honest.
Good stuff right there.
They really push.
This guy's a professional.
He's good.
Well, I will say, like Luke said.
Wow, look at that.
I thought it was every Friday, but it might be one Friday a month.
One Friday a month. Yep. And they started that
100% of the proceeds go.
Yep. But here's the deal.
Artists.
Even when it's not the Bandcamp Friday, I think the artists still get 90% or 85%, somewhere around there. So
I don't know,
and that's why I said that.
Right.
You keep a lot more than streaming services, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
Streaming services pay you nothing. They pay
but
you
Bandcamp
nothing.
is a streaming service too. So once you've purchased that
Right.
album, you can stream it if you don't have access to your physical media. You can buy the physical media for not much more than just the digital, and you get the FLAC download. So how awesome. I just think that like you said, saving music.
I will say, especially during the last couple of years, I went to Bandcamp and I bought T-shirts, cassettes.
Yep, exactly. T-shirts are there. Yeah.
Whatever. Somebody be like, "Oh, we're doing a one-off of it." Done.
Yep. Exactly. Death Cab for Cutie did a covers album. It was all for benefiting a cancer institute or something like that. So
it's another band we didn't mention.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can run so many great things through Bandcamp. That's one of the things I need to get on. Like, thankfully, season is slowing down now. I'm working on it. Yeah, I have a lot on schedule for winter, and that is one of them.
I will throw you some money.
Yeah,
from what I've heard, Bryce, I'm not trying to stroke any egos here, but I'm digging what you're putting out there. So
sweet, man. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, thank you.
Definitely.
You can go to my website and you can get downloads there. That is one thing.
Okay, that's what Steve just
BryceEvansMusic.com.
Nice.
There you go.
I've not been to your website, so I will throw some money your way.
Please do. Please go check it out.
You gotta get your band to tour out there to the Illinois Valley.
Do it.
Yeah, that's. I mean, honestly, actually, this summer we're working on a tour. We're trying.
Cool.
It's very difficult, but I have started to make connections that I hadn't made recently. So I started a new project called Bryce Evans and the Black Cats. That whole thing has kind of like started this mind of its own. I got with this one bass player. He's fantastic. And he just is kind of hooked into the local music scene. He knows people. He runs security at a couple clubs. He's really, he's one of those like social butterfly people. And I'm not that by any means. Like, that's not what I'm good at, right? I stuck myself in a room for 21 years and I tried to learn how to play a 6-string. So yeah, that group, like he's great. And he has kind of given me a lot of different roads and outlets to go. So like next Thursday, I'm opening for Shiny Ribs, who I'd never heard of. So kind of like Music Rewind, right? Like this job is giving me this whole, like, who am I opening for? I've never heard of you one time. And then I go check out their Spotify and it's like, you have 146,000 monthly listeners and a tour bus and like 14,000 Instagram followers and
Bryce, where is that show? What
that
is it? And how can we get tickets?
The Moxie Theater in Greeley, Colorado. All of my tickets are on my website. So click on my website.
How close is that to Aspen? I've got family out there. That's what I'm
like,
asking. If I go visit them, can I make it to your concert in a reasonable distance?
Probably not. And Aspen is like 4 hours from me, and that show's an hour from me. So it'd be
Colorado's the size of Peoria. Everything's like 30 minutes from each other.
Right.
She lives down. Yeah, she lives down in the valley. My cousin lives down in the valley. So
how about Pueblo, Bryce? Is it close?
Oh,
to Pueblo?
that's a good 8 hours. Like, yeah, that's
There you go.
that's
All right. Colorado's
So
good
do you
state.
know my
Let's
one
just
friend?
let's
who
throw
used to
out
work
cities in Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like my mother.
Loveland.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
Loveland.
Ooh,
That's
yeah.
like- that's like
I
half.
audited in Loveland once.
Loveland's pretty close. So yeah, not like that. All
I'm
this.
going to
bass
Loveland
player.
the first week of October.
Oh really? Okay, cool. Well, I actually have
Is
a
there
show
any
like.
shows around there?
Oh yes, there is. I know there is. See, like I have so many shows coming up. I'm like, dude, I don't even know right now.
This guy.
Oh,
Isn't
Tanya.
Steve the
Mick
moderator?
Jagger?
Can
No,
put
that's
that on
awesome,
the
yeah.
This is
screen?
amazing. This is
I-
awesome.
Yep.
I love it,
Let's
dude.
hear it.
Oh, hang
Yeah,
on.
we got Greeley, Colorado. We've got Loveland, Greeley.
Yeah, Dan, I was going to say, like, Carly,
Somebody said Pueblo.
for sure.
I asked. He said we're 9 hours away.
So let's see. Actually, October 8th. That's a solo show. The only show I really have in October for this so far that's public is the 29th of October. So that's towards the end of the month. But
Are you gonna wear a costume, dude?
yeah, I have to. Yeah, that's a really high-paying show. Like, that's how I make my living, right?
It's awesome.
And I'm good enough to push for a lot of money, so I do.
Plug it. Hey,
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
where is
Yeah.
it? Where is it? How can we
That
get
one
tickets?
is KOA Campgrounds in Fort Collins. They have this like monthly things, and this
What a
one's
great
just gonna be the
town.
big Halloween show. So that'll be a cool.
Danny, Fort Collins from Pueblo is, I think it's like 4 hours.
It's a ways, dude. It's
Yeah,
a
because Fort
ways.
Collins is an hour north of Denver.
Thereabouts
No idea.
without
And then
traffic.
Pueblo's,
No idea.
Pueblo's like 2 hours south. Danny's sister lives in Pueblo.
It's a good drive if you wanted
Yeah.
to do it.
I just know because
love
I
to
used
see
to
it,
I
right?
used to audit a company in Fort Collins, and we used to always fly to Denver.
Where's all that? Like Colorado Springs, right? Same
Hour
distance,
south, right?
Mm-hmm.
just about an hour. Yeah, got it.
Colorado Springs like an hour south.
So basically, what we're saying is we might all make the trip out there.
Yeah.
Do it, man. Do it.
Come
Yeah.
support it.
Yeah. So, anyways,
or we have to facilitate a.
no. What I need you guys to do is I need you guys to
No.
find bars and send me bars and venues that I can try to book into. And I
Well, that's
will,
what I was gonna say. Facilitate
I was like, Bryce, it's too bad
Venues in
I didn't know
Illinois,
you
dude.
last year.
facilitate places in Illinois.
yeah, please do. Yeah.
Last year, my wife and
Nice
I
meet
lived in
love.
Denver.
Michael and
Nice
I are in
and
the
fun.
Chicagoland area.
I'm in Peoria, so
Luke's in Peoria.
Yep.
Big
I'm
Al?
trying to get my
Spencer,
way
still there?
through. I have a few fans in
Sacramento.
Pennsylvania, and this one guy was like, "Dude, you need to play this blues fest." So I got a hold of the guy, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'll check your stuff out." So I'm waiting to hear back on that guy. But the Shiny Ribs thing is pretty sweet because it's like that was kind of literally I got notice last night. I woke up this morning to a text message. It was like, "Oh yeah," it's like 12:30 at night, and my bass player was like, "Yeah, we got that show." So that's cool.
Amazing.
But it's just like more and more work. So hopefully next summer I'll have a whole bunch of touring shows throughout the country, but it takes time. So
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man.
yeah,
When
You got anything new?
When you
Do
get
have
to the
anything new
Grammys,
coming out?
remember where you started.
yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I'll just come back
Podcast.
onto Music Rewind all the time. You guys
Yeah.
will see me here constantly.
Luke or Bryce, you had mentioned before you were working on some new stuff. You got new singles coming out or anything like that?
Yeah. So Sin's a
And
Good
where
Man's
can we
Brother.
where can we find them?
Sure. So Sin's a Good Man's Brother, which Steve has been nice enough to use for season 3 for the intro. So that's like an old Grand Funk Railroad song, right? And I thought it could have been so much more, so I tried to do my best with it. So you can find that on my website. So all my music is on my website, bryceevansmusic.com right there. You can download it. If you sign up for my mailing list, you'll get the newest episode. That may be like, newest episode, newest song. You get the newest song. And then basically like when you sign up, you'll get that. And then almost every other song that I release, I will send to you if you're part of my mailing list. It's kind of part of the deal of the thing.
I'm in.
I am working on 2 different projects. One right now I have, so Sin's a Good Man's Brother came out on the 2nd. It's got over 5,000 plays, I think, last I looked, within a week.
Nice.
So that's doing pretty good. And then the next single will be coming up as soon as I can get a Pro Tools iLock USB to unlock my Pro Tools so I can finish the mix, which should be soon. So that'll be in about 6 weeks. Once that happens, then I'm going to start working on a 3-song EP, which is when I'm going to get into Bandcamp. I'm going to like release one on the streaming platforms and for my mailing list members, but then the other 2 you'll have to go buy and pay for. Depending on how the next release goes and how shows and touring goes, I may put together like a finalized copy of a CD and then put that on Bandcamp and my website to buy. So just go check out the website, join the mailing list. It's probably
I just did it. I already got a copy of Grindstone. I got a copy of Grindstone.
I hope you like it.
Hey,
yeah.
I listened to it. I listened to it on YouTube after your episode. I thought
sweet.
it was fantastic. That was one that I heard.
Thank you.
So I will put it on my. I'll put it on my iPod Classic here.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Oh,
yes.
it's like an 8-track, man.
I love it.
No. This is a Frankenstein's monster. So there's a guy on Etsy, Pirate Petey, I believe is the name. He takes the guts of these old classics and he ups them to gigabytes of storage, and you can store high res music on
and where is that?
That's what I was always
Etsy.
Etsy. Okay.
Luke, Luke, we need to talk about this after.
Let's do it. Pirate Petey, he's the coolest dude. I've ordered multiple iPods from him because this is my go-to. Again, it's high res because it's no longer protected by Apple. You know, they don't put that lock on it, so he takes that off.
Luke is like Pono for.
That's right. This is a Pono player for sure. This is what Pirate Petey does for the iPod is what Neil Young does for Pono.
Read his book. It was if you want to hear about trains and.
There you go. Speaking of books, I'm gonna get back to books. So have you guys read this?
Can't see it.
A Devil on One Shoulder and an Angel on the Other. It's Shannon Hoon's biography. Holy crap! This is the best book you will ever read. Please go get it.
I didn't even know it was out. I love Blind Melon.
It's been out for
I'm a Blind Melon
for years. But what I'm saying
evangelist.
is this right here is the best biography I've ever read. It's so cool how the author Greg Prado. I don't know if you can read that down there. So anyway, he's done Stone Temple Pilots. He was big in the grunge scene. So but what he's
for
what's up?
Wait, to interrupt for one moment. 1 terabyte iPod Classics, $400.
There you go.
Oh,
well, if you have
awesome.
Luke's money,
no.
You just have this with the cloud on it. I'm just saying.
But
$400 is a lot for me to pay for something.
that's a lot of money.
I'm in on that though. I'm really.
Luke, I will say this: I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on CDs. I have 3,500 CDs. I have probably 500 records. I think the music industry got my money.
I've got 1,000 CDs and I'd say 500 records. And speaking of Al, I promised you in the classic rock round.
No, don't even. You're not gonna send the.
I've got an Al pile. Hold on. No. I've got an Al pile. I'm going to show everyone what I've got going.
Oh
the
boy!
Alleged second copy of Coda that I'm supposed to get 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
It's next to the Elvis scarf.
Sacramento 2 years ago.
He's got it next to the Elvis scarf.
Yeah. Did he already bust that out?
This is a work in progress. So all right. This is the album I promised you. This is the one that I promised you. So
2 years ago, yeah.
If you know, how long has Music Rewind been? It's not
about
even
a year.
Okay, so I and how long ago was Classic Rock Roundtable? I'd say
2 years ago.
That was like 5 years ago. Yeah,
half a year. So, but look at how cool this is. So, someone in Pekin, Illinois, has clipped a newspaper article onto the album. So,
is that from the Peoria Journal-Star?
Yes. This is so. What this is?
That degrades the value.
No, it doesn't, because this is a promo. I haven't looked up on Discogs yet, but I think this right here is going to be worth something. So I've also got for you this amazing copy of Bruce Springsteen Live. It's a 5-disc album.
Oh yeah,
there's Al. Brothers in Arms. Come on, who doesn't love it? I got myself a MoFi copy.
Not on vinyl.
What?
You know
What do you
how
mean?
this goes on vinyl. They
It's
they
digital,
mix
yes,
that down
yes,
on
yes.
digital, and then they
Okay.
put it on analog, which sounds like crap.
J Giles live. Al.
I had that. I traded it back in. Okay.
I have that record right over here.
Doobie Brothers live. Come on.
No.
Yes,
I
he
love
would.
the Doobie Brothers, but that's okay.
How much
You're
money
gonna
do
send me
you
these?
owe Al, Luke?
David. No. Al and I have been
What the
vinyl
hell
buddies.
is that?
Okay.
David
Who's David Lee?
David live.
Yeah.
Oh, David Live.
This is Bowie.
Who's
Come
David
on.
Lee?
No,
Oh, wait.
it's
Look like
I thought it was
David.
Bowie.
Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, the way you had it, I thought it said David Lee.
So,
I was
yeah,
like,
that's what I thought.
Don't you think that should have been Bowie live?
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
David.
Doesn't it make more
Dave.
sense?
No, David Bowie is David. I mean, when you say David, you think David Bowie, right?
No, I think you have to say Bowie.
All
You have
right.
to say Bowie live.
And
David
then
Jones.
here is the best of all. So this is another band from Pekin, Illinois.
That's not
The
Brett.
Good Times. The Good Times from Pekin, Illinois.
Who's the band members?
Hold up.
Crow Carroll, Jim Carroll, or Crow Carroll was he in there?
Jackie Wilcox, Bill Wilcox, Bill Lonis, and Kurt Milkwright.
No.
So
don't know any of
the
them
Good Times from Pekin, Illinois, recorded in Pekin, Illinois at 1423 Anna Drive.
They went on to
Al,
Fort
this
Brett.
couldn't be yours.
Was that wooden? That wasn't Wooden Nickel.
Was
That wasn't recorded.
Was that
at Wooden
before? Was that before or after the high school mascot?
Oh,
It was definitely before. This was back in those days.
Yeah. Or was that around?
There's
the
a
same
there's a
time?
Johnny
Was
B.
Grand
Good.
Wizard was there?
What's up?
Nothing. There's not a Grand Wizard from Pekin, Illinois.
Nickel.
But anyway,
I'm
so
glad I don't know
Al,
what you're talking about there.
I do have an Al pile going on.
we
here.
could talk about it after this is
We're
live.
not talking about Pekin's old mascot.
Gotcha.
Yikes.
So anyway,
There's a band like honestly, but from the Illinois Valley, Dan, the Buck Acre, they got a
Buck
couple
Acre?
vinyl records.
If you like the Eagles,
If you like the
You guys
Eagles,
want to hear my
You like
Mudvayne
Steve Sharp?
story real quick?
yes, we do.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
So-
absolutely, Al.
It's not much of it like a story, but I was seeing those guys play at VFW halls, American Legion outposts before they broke big.
Nice.
It was like I was just going into, I mean, these little halls was like 200-300 people, maybe at the most. And at the time I was kind of not really into that heavy rock scene. The people that I was hanging out with were, so I'm just going along. But then, of course,
Was Gary in,
With what
in that
happened.
group?
Were they playing that type of metal at the VFW?
yeah, they were already doing the whole
Really?
metal scene. Yeah.
Wow.
It was so there was a band called Taxi War Dance. Luke, do you remember
Yes.
Taxi
Yep.
War Dance? Okay.
And that's why I
So-
asked if Gary was in that group that was going to see him with you, because I know Gary was
No, he was
he was really into the
yeah.
Yep.
Before I knew Gary. But then there was
Gotcha.
also this band called Rebels Without Applause. And
Clever.
I actually liked that band better than Mudvayne at the time, but I don't think anything ever became of them.
Every
those guys won an
VFW,
MTV Music Award.
every VFW that I've been affiliated with has been like, I don't know, grumpy old men that would not allow that inside their VFW. So I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
It was pretty amazing seeing them around Pekin, Peoria, Creve Coeur, those type areas, and in those little bitty places, and the amount of people that they drew at the time. But who would
we
have
call
ever
it Creve.
thought
We call it Crave Tucky.
Kentucky?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's amazing about I always think about Mudvayne, and I think about Slipknot. Slipknot's from Iowa.
Iowa City, yeah, and I want to say that they were at one or two of those shows because they would come over and then they'd go over there because I mean, that's pretty close, Iowa City, right? To Peoria?
Yeah, I mean, how do you
3
fit
hours?
9 guys into a
I'd say
VFW
less than that,
stage,
2 hours.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't specifically remember Slipknot, but I almost think that they did play a couple shows with those guys right around that same
I
time.
just remember when
That
I
would
was
make
in
sense.
college. When I was in college and Mudvayne won, I think like best video or something like the MTV Music Awards, and they had the bullet like makeup. It looked like a bullet that was shot through their head, and it was like bleeding down. And they won it, and they're just like, first time I saw them, I was like, who are these fucking guys? And then they were like,
exactly.
hi, we're from like middle of Illinois, like middle and fucking like. And then I found out that the Slipknot guys are from Iowa, and I was like, what could have happened to you that you start making this music and just be so angry?
There was a small metal scene at the time.
But then Corey Taylor comes out with, I'm looking at you through the glass.
Oh.
Don't know how much time has passed.
I don't ever want to talk about his solo and Stone Sour is garbage.
So you've got it's complete duality there. Yes.
I'm
I
sorry.
remember when Stone Sour came out.
Is good,
it
but
blew my
Stone
mind
Sour
that
and
was
his
the guy
solo
from
stuff.
Slipknot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my opinion about it, but
Stone
And
Sour,
he and Dave Grohl are good buddies. I know he was on the. Am I echoing here?
Someone's echoing you.
That's me.
yes.
Probably me. Sorry.
Damn.
So, but yeah, Sound City, Corey Taylor. That the song you did for Sound City was absolutely amazing.
Yes.
You get that.
Yes.
No, he's a good singer. I'm
Yes.
not saying that, but it's like it's kind of like Kiss when they did Unmasked. It was
Actually, I said
Kiss
duality.
sucks anyways, but then like they did the Unmasked, and it made it.
This doesn't
So
suck.
Sorry.
when it comes to Stone Sour for me, right? Like, it's one of their newer albums, and everybody loves. I think the name of the album is House of Golden Bones. House of Golden Bones, 2012, and everybody loved Absolute Zero. Right? Could care less. I hate that freaking song. It's horrible. The rest of that album is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The Travelers Part 1 that leads right into Tired, and then RU486, and then right out of there into My Name is Alan. There's so many awesome tracks on a lot of, like, I find with Stone Sour and with Seether as well, everybody falls in love with these A-side tracks that get tons of radio play, and that's what everybody buys their tickets for. But the true fans go back and they like dig through the rest of the stuff. That's probably the way with every album, right? The true fans will find those gems that are hidden in the dust of the forgotten songs that they wrote 20 years ago or whatever. It's like, that is the band, right? And Stone Sour.
There's nothing better than finding that B-side that's just fantastic that you love and nobody else really cares about.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's vinyl. I mean, vinyl's perfect for that. I mean, that's like one of my things. Finding that track that you love but nobody else really cared about. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I am.
Sorry. Go ahead, bro.
Danny, I think you got some audio.
Danny, you sound like a monster. What happened?
Darth Vader.
You're a monster.
I'm not.
Do you have wireless headphones in? Have they died? Do you need to plug them back in? Look at this. This is analog. This came free with my iPhone. The iPhone SE, by the way.
Analog.
These are wireless, and it's fine. It's those damn iPods.
It's the iPod. This is giving the feedback.
AirPods, whatever the hell they call those.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So I got to get out of here, guys. My bass player's called me 3 times now about a show that we played a few weeks ago, and now the owner wants us to play that
John
again.
Entwistle.
So I am out of here, but I will see you guys later.
Thanks for joining, Bryce.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank you guys for having me.
I'm
See
signed
y'all
up,
later.
man. You better be
Yeah,
signing
Luke,
new songs.
I wanted to tell you that I did actually realize that my settings were wrong. So you got a copy of Grindstone. I sent you a copy of
Nice.
Sins of Good Man's Brother. So that should be in your email. And I will
Awesome.
fix that for anybody that signs up. If any of you guys sign up tonight, I'll fix that for you tomorrow and I will send you
Do
a new
it.
copy. So
I'm
All right,
really
guys.
excited, man. I wish you luck.
yeah, thank you, man.
Take care, man.
I'll be listening to more episodes. Hopefully I'll hear more of you guys. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Later.
Peace.
See ya.
Yeah, we're probably not too long from wrapping this up ourselves. About to hit the 3-hour mark.
I thought you said the 90s was 4 hours. We've still got another hour.
It was 4.5.
Yeah, and Al is West Coast time, so I mean he's the night is young.
The night is young.
We've got so much more to talk about.
Technically, I could take my headphones out and go to bed. You guys can keep talking for as long as you want. Yeah.
There you go.
He just wakes up tomorrow morning and just has to hit stop real quick.
I'm the only real professional working on the East Coast.
There you go.
I've had my almost 3-year-olds for 6 hours and I'm all wore out.
I will say it's very interesting to hear the difference between like a younger person talking about like the bands that like we knew and there's a lot of stuff that came out after like 94 that I'm just like, I bought the CD and like it sounded close enough to like stuff that that we liked, and then looking back at it and I'm like, oh man, like there's no way that I want to hear this ever again. Examples.
Shine Down.
Well, like I enjoy Shine Down. I'm not going to say that they're in my top 100.
Creed,
but I
like
enjoy
Creed.
it.
Like Creed.
Sure.
And,
well, let me throw
Creed
this
is another one.
Like
they're top 200 probably, but
I'm going to throw out Filter. All right.
I love Filter as well.
Hey Man, Nice Shot was a great song, but then
look at this.
I had that CD too, but
you go past that single and it's not
worth the shit.
I just bought these last week, so I've had them. No,
I've had last week. Honestly, Luke, if you want some CDs, you tell me
I got this for $1.
No.
I got this for $1.
Danny and I will just give them to you. We'll ship them to you.
I think I saw Filter at the Heart of Illinois Fair with like 20 other people.
I saw the lead singer from Filter. He opened up for Garbage about 3 years ago, and I went with Danny's sister and her husband, and the guy was like, "I'm sober and this is great," and I'm like, "Just hey man, I shot and shut the fuck up." Like, I don't know what to anything after 95, 96.
Luke, you cannot honestly say that's something you listen to front to back and you love. Like, they're underrated.
You want a band that I think is underrated?
No.
He's asking about
Filter.
Nervous.
Oh,
Filter. Nervous.
Because I have a lot of records where I'm like, oh, I like those songs or what.
I enjoyed Filter's singles, so I thought I'd explore their deeper discography.
Okay.
And here's the other thing. So I've recently
No, Luke. You're
Luke, just text me. I'll give you. I got tons
what
of
do you
shit
think
from
about
90s
those records?
that you could have forever.
Okay, I'm gonna say this production-wise is absolute shit. So I've recently purchased a CD player that has an amazing DAC. For those of you listening that don't know what that is, it's a digital audio converter. And so here's my 2 cents for the night. I love vinyl, but this DAC on my CD player freaking rocks. All of my CDs here, I've got 1,000 of them. They have got new life. The DAC on this CD player is amazing. Filter sucks balls.
Exactly.
It's not a good band.
So I enjoyed their singles, but
say, hey,
yes.
do you have this CD? Me or Danny say, hey, do you have this CD? We'll ship it to you. Just
okay.
If it's garbage,
but again, a buck. So
I don't want you to pay for it.
If you look here, the CD falls. the spindle is broken. So
they don't even have the fucking.
I mean, like I said, I bought it because I was like, I'm bored. I'm on Discogs. I enjoy this single. Let's give it a shot. It's $1,
I will honestly say, I think they got a lot of, because what is it? Hey Man, Nice Shot.
And here's the other thing. He was in Nine Inch Nails touring band before he formed Filter. So that's what I liked about it. I love Nine Inch Nails is top 10 for me. Band wise, I absolutely love.
I keep hearing a lot of top 10s. I mean, I don't know. I'm starting to.
No. I said top 200 for who was the last band we talked about? Creed. Yes. Filter's top 300. So anyway, Nine Inch Nails is top 10 for sure. Nine Inch Nails is top 10. Period.
I will say that the Hey Man Nice Shot single came out like 94,
Yeah,
95.
I think that sounds
and there was a
accurate.
lot of
It was like 96.
gray
This came out in
area,
95.
gray area about whether or not
Short
that
bus.
was about
Short bus, which is very PC these days.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? He's not going to get canceled for that, right?
Hey Man, Nice Shot was in that buzzworthy. They played it a lot on MTV.
And Danny is making a point about
I remember there was sort of that. Is this about Cobain?
No,
is it not?
It was about a dictator.
Or was that?
It was a dictator that.
No. There was a.
Can you say that?
There's a congressman.
We can't say no. We can't say dictator anymore. Bleep that out, Steve.
There was a
But it was about.
There was a congressperson who he went to retire. If you want to cheat, look it up. There was a congressperson who was going to retire.
Okay.
Like in the 70s or something. He held a press conference, maybe a mayor, congressperson, senator, and then he held the press conference and he got up there and I called everybody here today, and then he blew that off. Maybe in Ohio.
Okay.
If somebody wants to look it up, and it's kind of famous. And
I've got it. I'm on it.
But it was famous enough for him to write about it.
Well, obviously that's pretty impactful. However, anyway, Luke, there's a lot of records like that. You know what I mean? Like,
and I'm getting
and Danny and I stole money from BMG and Columbia House to help you out with that. Like we have.
I'm getting bored.
So much stuff that we could just give it to you.
I'm getting bored.
So I'm getting bored with music. So what I'm doing is I'm revisiting the past and I'm saying, I liked this single. Let's try the entire album. And that's probably why I have 1,000 CDs.
And what I was saying is that back in the 90s, I was sucked in by I liked that single that I heard on MTV. I bought the album. I bought the CD.
Yep.
And like the rest of the songs sound nothing like this one track.
Sure.
You know, I am bored with this album. And then a couple years later, Take a Picture comes out. It's like people are like, this doesn't sound like Filters. Like, actually, it does.
Sure.
It sounds like the rest of that first album. I felt like the music snob being able to even say that because I bought that first album.
What was the single that was on the Spawn soundtrack?
Oh,
Spawn.
Yes, it was on Spawn at the time. Was
my brother had that. My brother had the album. Luke, you're 38.
Yep, I'm almost 38. Yep.
Yeah. So
I honestly think those are
Danny.
the
He's
only
Justin's
two songs
age.
I
So
know
like
from Filter is
my little brother. I remember. I think Justin had that Spawn record, and I was just like, I remember when I was in college.
Can't You Trip Like I Do?
Yes, I loved that song.
With the Crystal Method.
Yes, Crystal Method was an excellent band at the time too.
I
Yes.
do like that song.
Yes.
So do you guys remember? Is that like in the era of like Stabbing Westward?
Yeah, Stabbing Westward was huge back then.
That was the late 90s when we were in college. Dude.
Yeah,
there's a Silverchair song on this soundtrack.
There you go.
How about the guys? You know, that's the thing we didn't talk about in the 90s thing. I always loved that Silverchair always said, we never heard Nirvana or anything. And they came out with this record that sounded like, even the video looked like Kurt. And remember, it was like 95 when that record came out.
Oh, he had the long...
Yeah, those guys were like 16, 15 years old when that
Yeah, and he goes, we never heard of that because we're from Australia. We have no idea.
They were like a battle of the bands or something. Wasn't that the...
But they said that. I remember they said they're like, we
had a
make
record
our music
deal because they...
Sure.
Yeah.
I need to listen to this soundtrack. There's a Tom Morello and the Prodigy song, One Man Army.
There you go. See, so
is Tom singing? If Tom's singing,
I don't know. It just says Tom Morello, the Prodigy. I'm curious, to say the least.
The best thing about Tom Morello's new record is that he has other people singing it.
Another recent,
that leads into Simon and Garfunkel. Yes.
Another recent Discogs purchase. So I got this for $20 on Discogs. It's got all of their studio albums in one.
Like Jack Boroski, Danny.
This is so I already own all of these on
cassette.
No, it's CD.
I feel like I'm watching Jack Boroski like open up his like.
I think we
No,
all
all of
have
my
to go to Luke's
recent
place
purchases are over here.
for the
so.
next
Luke,
live.
Do you
Luke,
have this?
you let me know the next time you're in Spring Valley. I'll just bring you right to my dad's house. To my
Luke
parents'
Luke
You're
needs
gonna give me
his
all your
own.
CDs. All
You
right.
need your own YouTube
guys can
channel
meet
where you
at
just
Blue
you
Jay Way.
unbox all the used CDs you've got from Discogs.
You go,
There you
you go see the old man,
So another
and
one.
he'll just be like, "Oh, I got this."
So Radiohead.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
Tom, like these are the B-sides to "Hail to the Thief."
yeah.
I'm sure
You guys
Michael
can
has
meet up at Blue Jay Way
I have that
Records
on-
and swap.
I have that on like that was from actually a lot of that's from like OK Computer and
$5 Discogs. I love Discogs. Discogs is like Bandcamp for me. I think we're saving things from the landfill.
I just laugh.
I'm
I feel like I'm
50-50
talking to
on
Dad,
Discogs.
Danny. Dad, I swear, guys, it feels like Jack Boroski right here. You get a beard on you, and
I love it.
Luke,
Jackson, when I was
have
like,
you
"Whoa,
sold the Elvis scarf? yet?
$5."
Nope, Elvis scarf is still here. So the dude that I was talking to at Graceland, he just kind of fell off. So if you guys know any Elvis fans that are looking for a stage worn signed scarf, let me know.
Well, set the stage for everyone watching still. What is the Elvis scarf? How did you get it?
Okay.
And what is it?
Luke,
My mom's sister,
go get
back in college. You want me to get it?
Might as well go
Yeah.
for it.
All right. It's
We need
gonna
a
take
visual.
me a minute.
They need a visual.
It's in a safe. I've got a
That's
fireproof
okay.
safe.
We'll talk
that
about
things
you while
in.
you're gone.
Okay. I'll be back.
Should we have like a DNA test done that like it
Actually, there's
sweat?
makeup on it.
Yeah.
There's brown and blue.
Sweat.
So it might be.
Are you trying to insinuate that the king of rock and roll wore makeup?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
100%.
So apparently,
When they
what he
wheeled
did-
his fat ass up there, I'm
apparently
sure
what
it
he
had-
did, he would wipe his face or wipe his neck and then throw it to a hot girl in the
Yeah,
crowd.
it was shtick. It was his
Yeah.
shtick.
But when he's wiping his face, he's getting some of that mascara, he's getting some of that makeup on there. So yes,
I get
King
it.
of Rock and
I
Roll
was
was.
just
I know,
being the
I know.
guy. Yeah.
But could it be something that my aunt had on her hand? Yes. I'm not trying to say that it was directly from the king's face, but
I think it is.
it could have been. So I'm gonna go grab it.
Go for it.
Okay.
Let's see it.
That's one thing we never talked about was the king of rock and roll, the Elvis. That's never been talked about. I mean, the Beatles haven't been talked about yet.
We
You know?
didn't talk
I'm
about it
just
here.
talking about on the
Back
show.
road.
We brought it up
On the show. Because we don't have a Beatles episode yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
We
but
don't
on
have
our
Rolling
classic
Stones.
rock roundtable, we talked about kind of the origins of classic rock and where
Yeah, what is
where that-
classic rock?
and because for someone like me, I grew up thinking classic rock was pretty much 60s to 90s. That's what WLRZ told me it was, and
Right.
and that's still kind of the way I feel. Whereas everything prior to the 60s is kind of your golden oldies.
That's like the
And-
90s. What was that
But-
station that used to be in the area, like
LRZ?
96.5 or something?
100.9 was that WLRZ?
No, that was the classic rock station, but there was a channel
is.
that would always play like Elvis and like
There was an oldies station, yeah.
it was that oldie station, and like when we were kids, it was the oldie station.
Yeah, at Christmas time they would play that Jingle Bells Barking Dogs one, like nonstop. Yeah.
But I don't think Elvis is like you never hear Elvis on like up in Chicago on even on XRT or
That's a really good point. I don't know the last time I've just heard a Elvis song on the radio.
Elvis station on XM. I mean,
Wow.
Yeah.
great. It's fun to listen to, but you definitely don't hear it on classic vinyl on XM.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
I
I
don't-
just
and I
heard
don't
that's
think
all
it-
right on
So
Underground Garage.
just for the
Underground.
massive size of one of these things. So if you can see this,
He was a big man.
You're gonna get all your makeup on it, Luke. It's gonna
Towards the end.
my makeup's coming off, but this is massive. This is a huge scarf.
That is
So-
a big scarf.
Where's his autograph?
Autograph is.
Yeah.
Yep, I've got it backwards.
Oh,
There it is.
Can you see it?
Elvis Presley.
there's that. And then let me see if I can find some of the makeup. So there are clear blue and brown streaks on this thing. So, but anyway, like I said,
You said blue.
Has even
Like if you just said brown streaks,
is blue eyeshadow? Is blue eyeshadow? I don't know.
Yeah.
What was
That was probably from the old lady sitting next to your aunt or something.
It could have been. My aunt was very young at the time, so she's since passed away. But that's
the
why.
Autograph, like, is at least the autograph verified?
I talked to the dude at Graceland, and he said this is authentic. He looked at the stitches, so apparently the stitching on these things. Doubtfully you can see this, but he said yes, this is authentic, and I knew it was because I have the ticket stub. My aunt told me the story. My grandpa had this framed in his house since I was a baby, so
awesome.
This is real. So like I said,
chills. Like,
if you know anyone who wants this, it holds value to me. Knowing
it probably
that
sells pretty well now because that movie.
Yeah,
is
the
out.
movie just
and
came
then
out.
Now it's on HBO Max.
So anyone listening, hey,
it's
I've
worth
got
what,
this.
$2-3 grand, right?
That's what he said. Yep, he the guy from Graceland who again told me he would sell it and he did not, but that's not a big deal. He authenticated it. I've got the emails proving it. He said I have the exact one. What he was waiting on, apparently there is a book coming out on the Champagne concert alone. So apparently the Champagne concert was so grand that some guy is writing a book on the concert itself, not the tour, the concert. So
wow.
This came from
I would say this,
concert.
Luke, like 2-3
I saw the
grand
ticket
is
stub too.
2-3 grand's like not enough to sell it in my mind.
That is a new turntable. Al,
it's not. Yeah, but it's not like it's not life changing, but it's also
it's not life changing.
You could have it forever.
That's a lot of dollar filter
right.
CDs.
That's how I feel.
That is a brand new turntable for me. So which has more value to me than this because again, the story is cool.
Yeah, but like you have that story and you have all that. Like I don't know. That's how I feel about it. But
sure,
I'm only one man thinking about that. That
you're right, and I may regret
for
it.
2-3 grand. If somebody told me like I have a Decemberist like signed vinyl, and if someone goes, "Oh, 2-3 grand," I'm like, "What's a fucking Decemberist? Nobody gives a shit."
I love the Decemberist, by the way. December,
right? But
Decemberists
it's not Elvis. You know what I mean?
You're right. Yep.
And you have a story by your aunt and your, all that stuff. That's a little different.
I will say that brings up a good
$200,000. Then we're like,
sure.
how do I get this fucking thing out of my house?
You're right.
Have you guys seen the market for like concert T-shirts and stuff?
That's stupid. Yes, on Etsy, I looked for a Who, like an original Who T-shirt. It was in the thousands. Insane for an original 1960s Who T-shirt.
I have, like a Nirvana Incesticide T-shirt that I bought at the mall.
Hundreds, if not thousands, right?
$1,500.
There you go.
And
that's craziness, isn't it?
Concert Pearl Jam and all that kind of stuff. My wife's like, sell them now.
Yep.
Sell them now. I'm like, I don't.
Wait,
even so since we're all here, let's get into the 10 Club. So I have every 10 Club T-shirt that has ever been offered, and those are stupid money. So let's say 30 to $40 a piece.
Oh, I've
got like 20 of them. So times what's 20 times?
Well, I didn't know that. Can you really sell them? I didn't know that
on the fan club. So people are saying like $30 for the night or the 2000. When did they start giving the T-shirts? The I'm Analog, the original black with the I'm Analog on it. That's going for $30-$40. But
06, 07?
Yep, I think 06. Yep, because that's when I joined. I think the first year I joined was when they were first starting to give.
Yeah, because they didn't give out those out back in the early 2000s.
Nope. Yeah, I joined in 2006.
But the fan club started way before.
Oh yeah, it started in 91, right?
Danny and I have been in since the late 90s.
Michael and I actually, we had a card table, or my grandparents had a card table in their back room, and we were listening to the 10 on a cassette or on a little boom box, and we unraveled the liner notes.
Sure.
And it said P.O. Box or whatever.
Al was one of the OGs.
Al was one of the OGs. Wrote our things down, and then our cousins were around the table, They said, "Hey, do you guys want to join too?" And they said, "No, that's stupid." So that was like 93.
Al gave me one of the original Christmas singles. He when we worked together, he came in one day and he was like, "Luke, I know you're a Pearl Jam fan. Here you go." He gave me one of the original.
No, that's awesome.
Nice.
There you go.
That is.
So I'm
sweet.
trying to find. So this one here is Pearl Jam from somewhere early '90s. You could only get a ticket in Chicago if you were with the fan
It was
club.
95, Soldier
It
Field.
was 95.
Was it 95?
And
Okay.
speaking
95,
of,
There's a
Soldier
whole
Field,
story
June
about that
10th.
one.
My first
Al
ever show.
gave me the original recording for that before they did the re-release through the what are they calling it on the when they release a new live album
Vault.
every year?
Vault.
Vault, yes.
Vault. It's a Vault song.
Al gave me the original Vault for Soldier Field. He had that on CD. He came into work one day. I got so many surprises from this dude. Al is a stand-up gentleman. He would just come in and say, "Hey, Luke, here's this Soldier Field recording," and it was stellar for what it was. The original Soldier Field.
It's actually one of the best.
Hell, I gotta
concerts
get
I've
that
seen in
from
my
you.
life.
Yeah,
You don't mind? That was my first ever Pearl Jam show.
there you go.
I got
And
it.
I've only got it on. I've only
my
got
wife's
it on
older
the
brother,
re-release and
was
terrible
the one-
bootlegs.
My wife's older brother, remember Jason was the one who had it. Like he got it from Champagne.
Yeah, I think
And
it was like
we had it on
$55.
it was like it was like ridiculous for like 2-disc set, and we had it on tape forever.
Nice.
And
It was
then,
expensive back then. Yeah.
oh yeah,
I think it was like, I want to say it was like $40 back then. But I figured, I was there, might as well get it.
it wasn't like because I remember like, oh, if you ever want to get a bootleg, it's crazy. And then I went and saw
What was it called? Monkey Wrench Radio, right? They did the
Monkey
Yeah.
Wrench Radio.
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
and then I went and saw the Allman Brothers in Rockford. I was living in Rockford at the time, and walked out of the show, and they're like, "Hey, would you like the concert? It's like $20. Do you want to hear it? We just like high-speed burners.
There you
We're
go.
gonna burn CDs." I'm like, "Wait, what?" This was like, this is like 2002. I'm like, "Fuck."
That's amazing.
You
It
can-
really
we-
is
like-
for the time.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like 100%. I'm like, how much does it cost? They're like, oh, it's like $20. I'm like, threw it
I'm
at
in.
them.
Yep.
And I had that like Allman Brothers concert from On the Waterfront Festival in Rockford, Illinois. And I can't tell you the last time I listened to it, but the fact that I was there and then that like started because we used to just do
the
bootlegs that, but if you had to know somebody in college that would get it, because it had to be college towns that had it. Like, my wife's brother, who is 6 years older than me and Danny, used to take us to Pearl Jam shows. And then, I mean, my wife is 10 years younger than me, so like the gap is crazy. And he would take us and he would like bring us to all these shows, like, God, don't worry about it. I'll find it in Champagne. And like, next thing you know, we have it at cassette. We're like, how the hell does this even happen?
There you go. See, I've got an Atlanta bootleg.
The 94
Yep.
show?
Or 394.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they
Danny's
recently
birthday.
they released that as a vault recently as well. But I've got the original.
I've got the cassettes.
There you go.
That was the one that was on Dissident. And then Dissident.
Yep.
Yeah. And you had to try to find
you had to
rest
buy
of them.
all of the. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
what a
You guys
pain,
are damn weird being able to just
Sorry,
identify
Steve. I was like,
this
shit, we're just taking over about Pearl Jam.
Yeah, like, he wrote a song once. Oh yeah, that was Champagne. That was like in '94. It was a Tuesday. It was rainy.
Speaking of, if any of you have a 2003 Champagne poster, I will buy it off of you for an Elvis.
Oh, you know what? I never
scarf.
bought that. Because my brother and I my brother was so excited just to go.
Eddie Vedder.
Yes, I have that one as well. My dad and I went to that concert together, so I was
I've got
admiring
all
that
the
from afar.
Chicago posters.
Same.
Got
I've got another one I went to. I was at Moline when they did No Code. I did
Oh,
not
fuck.
get that poster. It was sold out.
You
when I
want to
got
talk
to
about
the-
an ex-wife? She said, I can't go because we can't afford it. And so Danny's like, oh, I guess we can't go. And then they played fucking no code. And I'm like,
back. And it was stellar. They did an awesome job.
I think that's how the divorce actually proceedings started. Honestly.
That's awesome. They played no code.
Because I was supposed to go to Milwaukee and they played fucking Yield or Riot Act or whatever.
The next night, Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
In Milwaukee.
Yep.
Because it was
Milwaukee. Okay.
Far.
It was Yield, right? In Milwaukee.
Yeah, it was Yield.
Okay.
And
I thought it was Minnesota for some. Minnesota was probably the next night. That's
and I texted you
with the Vikings on the poster.
I think it's time to get divorced.
Well, no, I will say what if we're doing this, what tipped the straw was she cut up all your old Pearl Jam concert T-shirts and sewed them into a blanket.
Did you get the blanket at least? Are you?
No, I don't have a blanket. I will say though, I have
an old quilt like that.
Nice.
I did. Yeah, I will say this though,
and he didn't get the blanket, Al.
See?
Oh.
I will say this. I did see them play 10 in Philadelphia.
I think I remember you doing that in the Versus or maybe Led Zeppelin episode.
My brother and I were like, there's no way they're going to play it. And he played it, and I was like, holy shit. Like, people were losing their fucking minds. But
seriously.
That's a whole... We could just have like a whole Pearl Jam podcast that Steve could just like, cut out as a whole thing.
Yeah,
like,
we could. We could.
You want to listen to three assholes talk about Pearl Jam? Here it is. This is part 4 of Pearl Jam.
I definitely need. Oh, well, Luke dropped off, but it is getting close to time to wrap this up, though.
Yes,
it's almost 1 a.m. for me.
Thank you, Steve.
But yeah, go ahead and I guess say your goodbyes to our streaming guests here.
I'll do it right away. This podcast is awesome. I'm looking forward to season 3. I'm looking forward to like Nevermind and Master of Puppets and Revolving the Satellites and all these guys that are like, especially like the people that are going to be in there and talk about these albums that I've been friends with forever and relatives. So to hear like Tommy Jepson talk about Recovering the Satellites is going to be awesome. I have nothing to share except Beguile again. I had some Beguiles tonight. So I appreciate it that I'm here. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for joining, Mike.
Steve, I'll just say thanks for having us. I think this live broadcast, whatever we want to call it, was just a testament to Music Rewind, both seasons, the 3rd season, just music fans talking about music. And I know we've said it numerous times, but, you think you've heard an album, but you've never heard the album through somebody else's ears.
There you go.
You've never seen it or experienced it through somebody else's eyes. And that's the beauty of the podcast. So I hope everyone goes back and listens to the first 2 seasons. I know there's great things in store for season 3 and beyond. And it's been just a pleasure talking to everybody. So thanks again for having me, Steve.
Thanks for joining.
I agree 100%. The stories behind it are what make this podcast. So keep listening. I also want to say, go ahead and download the Quadrophenia episode so that we can smear Versus and DMX. It's hot.
What about Led Zeppelin 3? Where are we at?
What about Diary?
Band on the Run and Band on the Run.
No, I'm telling you right now. I think Quadrophenia is number 5 or 6. So Versus and DMX are next. You guys are getting smeared within the next, I'm going to guess, 2 weeks.
Quadrophenia's up there, but you got Live Rust in there, man. Live
Rust and Yankee Hotel Foxtrot are the next to beat after that.
Luke, Danny and I are telling everybody about Pearl Jam Versus when we're on the tour. So we're going to get all those Pearl Jam weirdos.
The most fascinating thing about the numbers is that Pearl Jam and DMX are
They have always been neck to neck.
They're
It's like
identical.
1 week it's this,
Yep.
1 week it's this, 1 week it's this,
it's really neat.
It really is. It's a battle. The originals, the original battle.
Would you say they're verses?
They are very versus.
Got all the puns tonight, Danny.
Sorry, Al.
Jeez.
Al got physically sick when I made that.
Yeah. That's a good one to leave on for sure.
There you go.
No, I'd just like to say thanks to Steve and Music Rewind for bringing us all together and just letting us talk about music. I mean, it's fun to geek out with people who appreciate music as much as you do. So thanks, and it was good, great talking to all you guys.
Agreed.
Yeah, thanks you guys for being supporters of the show, and I know you've listened to all the episodes, and huge contributors from the get-go. So I really do appreciate that. To anybody listening out there, we have a Patreon. By all means, help out if you can. There's a couple other ways to support the show. You can buy some Gotham cigars. They're excellent. Please do. Our other sponsors are Drizzly for alcohol delivery to your door, or Zounds for your engineering needs. But otherwise, just like, subscribe, and share. Do all that good YouTube stuff.
You guys made me drink a whole bottle of wine. I feel like Eddie Vedder tonight.
And you know where he got that?
Steve, I'm telling you, once you get those meal kits, that's the money. Meal kit.
There you go. Yes. No, I did not get that there, but
Dude,
yes,
Luke, what are you doing?
Luke, you will next time. You will next time, though.
Yeah, next time I'll get from Drizzly. But this is organic wine. This is from Kroger, Central Illinois. It's organic.
It's from your bathtub.
That's right.
This was a lot of fun, and we'll do it again, definitely. I haven't started recording for season 3. Sometime in October, November, I'll probably start that back up. Got some family stuff to take care of, and vacations, and just overall taking a brain break from been going pretty much nonstop since last October.
Unlimited Love is on your playlist.
Unlimited Love.
Yes, Unlimited Love again. Do it.
All right, I will. I have a lot of YouTube links on a list that you keep sending. I haven't listed them all yet. So.
Well, thanks to everybody who's been watching, or anyone who.
If someone stayed the whole time, they're professionals.
I agree. With us. Yes, I believe Nicole.
My mother-in-law was on here, and she was texting me. She goes, "You're a star." I'm like, "All right, Lori, you're the best." Like my mother-in-law was. She's one of the greatest.
You're all YouTube stars now.
I was going to say, I will tell my kids tomorrow morning that I was on YouTube and I'm an influencer.
There you go.
So.
Yeah, and don't believe the comments that we're going to get on this either. Right?
Never read the comments, right?
Never.
It could be worse.
Don't read the comments.
I have gotten a lot of. I've gotten a lot of positive comments, and I've gotten a handful of negative comments.
Can you read them out loud?
You're exactly
just off the top of my head. I am not a Pink Floyd fan because I don't like the song "Pillow of Winds."
You're not. Pillow of Winds is beautiful. Pillow of Winds is a beautiful song.
It's
you
terrible.
hate Pink Floyd.
Fucking horrible.
You need to save this for the next live. Save this for the next live.
I hate Michael Boroski.
Band on the Run sucks because Paul McCartney broke up the Beatles.
That guy's beard looks like shit.
Wait, somebody said.
Band on the Run sucks.
Somebody said Band on the Run sucks because Paul McCartney broke up the Beatles.
It sucks because Quadrophenia is so much.
Fucking Band on the Run was like years after they broke up. Like it wasn't Paul McCartney like the original record.
Internet comments are a thing of beauty, just to say the least. Quadrophenia is a bunch of gibberish.
No, that's
the movie is, but the album.
The movie was great too.
Someone said that Wilco was.
I haven't watched it.
Wait, Michael.
So someone said Wilco was boring as shit, and not the show, the album. They're talking about the album.
Wilco does have an album named Wilco, so if that's what they're referring to, maybe. But Yankee Hotel Foxtrot.
I don't know.
One guy said that Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska needs to be wiped from the internet.
There you go.
So I mean, the negative comments are just straight comedy. They're
going, Steve.
They're wonderful. Oh.
By the way, how
Sunny
boring
Day
is-
Real Estate is a pretentious choice. It was another one.
There were no comments on Sunday Real Estate because nobody had
No, a pretentious choice would have been Aeroplane Over the Sea by fucking
Yeah,
Richard
but
Hotel.
Airplane Over the Sea. Come on.
That would have been
I can't
pretentious.
That
knock
is not
Diary.
pretentious.
It's our number 2 episode.
Luke, if I see you in St. Louis for Pearl Jam,
You will see me. I will be there.
Luke, hey, make sure we get your number and everything so we can
I'm
hang
so
out.
Yes.
pretentious.
We'll connect through the email thread.
Yeah.
But what's happening? What's happening? I'm going down. Is that what you're saying?
No, sir.
All right.
Thanks for calling me out, though. I really appreciate
I
it.
want to thank everybody
Really
for
appreciate
listening,
it.
for
Hey,
watching.
sure thing.
Animals as the greatest Pink Floyd record.
I'm right there.
And I'm
Wish
the
You Were Here is the
asshole.
best one.
I told him that from day one. Animals is my favorite. I before he did the episode, I said that. Animals is beautiful.
That's never been debated. Is this the number 1
Sure.
Pink Floyd album?
Steve, you just got to cut these music geeks off. Just cut them off. Just end the show.
Yep, just press end.
I can mute everybody.
Hell, I can't wait to sit and have a beer at a regular bar at a bar and just shit talk about.
Everybody
music
needs to meet up in Chillicothe and watch Sunny Day Real Estate.
There you go.
Yep.
All of us pretentious assholes.
Hey, yeah, my dad's house. My dad lives in Chillicothe. We can all sit there.
Let's do it.
Wait, Illinois or Ohio?
Illinois. Is this Sunny Day and the Pumpkins, right? Is that Riot Fest?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's Chicago this weekend. Next week.
Well, there's a Chillicothe one, I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong.
Oh, wait.
I'm wrong a lot.
Chillicothe.
Are you talking about
Summerfest?
Summer camp.
Summerfest?
Summer camp is
Summer camp.
Chillicothe.
Summer camp.
Yep.
Summer camp.
Yeah, pumpkins were there
Nobody
2
wants to
years
sit
ago.
for 3 days of Mo.
My
Yeah,
dad's
Mo
house
is
is so
there
close you can
every
hear
year.
the concert.
Well, Mike's not available. He's going to be at a Dave Matthews concert, so we'll.
Tom Petty was at summer camp though. Tom Petty was there a while back.
Smash
Bush
Pumpkins
Crash.
was there this summer.
Yeah.
Primus.
Is it already over? That's the one I was talking about.
Yeah,
Yep,
it
summer
was
camp's
already
coming down.
happened.
Yep.
You know why we miss it? Because Michael was following Creed.
There you go. Yes. Who blames him? I mean,
Yes.
Creed. Come on. Number one on my list.
I can't wait to sit and have this
Creed, Dave
Luke, I
Matthews,
can't
double
wait
headliner.
for you to meet my wife and you talk about
Apollo
Creed,
Creed?
and she might slap you right in the face. She'll be at the Pearl Jam show.
All right.
All right. I want to go to bed, so I'm going
All
to
right.
thank everybody
Sorry,
for
Steve.
listening and watching. Until next time, listen to the full album. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Adios.
Catch you later.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. We'll see you in St. Louis.